But the Oakland A's stole the show late and broke Houston's heart for a 10th time this season. Tonight, Jared Cozart is the leading man for an Astros team looking to turn promise into production. Another high-intensity AL West showdown starts now. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's Game 2 of this three-game series between the Astros and the first-place Oakland Athletics. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby, having watched Oakland win last night's game and come from behind fashion to drop the Astros to a 6-game losing streak. And now they try to turn it around as young Jared Cozart makes only his second Major League start. Ash?
How about that first one? Was that a gem or what? Against Tampa Bay, a very hot club at the time, and against the reigning Cy Young champ in the American League, David Price. So he had it all going in a game like that, big situation, and he came through in spades.
In fact, he became the first Houston pitcher to go 8 shutout innings or more in his Major League debut July 12th, throwing 96 pitches, 55 for strikes, a lot of fastballs, but fastballs down and with movement, and 22 of 26 first pitch fastballs.
You know, there were probably two keys that I saw for Jared Cozart. Number one, he's got a heck of an arm, legit mid-90s, 94 to 96, but watch location. One after another as Carlos Corporan takes it and very quietly behind the plate. Knee high, time and time again. And that's how he dispatched these Tampa Bay Rays. Just a very impressive outing, 8 shutout innings, and you had the feeling that he could likely have gone for that 9th inning as well.
Well, tonight is his home debut, and half of League City, Texas probably will be here, and a lot of his friends from Clear Creek High School. His mound opponent also has been pitching very well, Jared Parker for Oakland.
You have to go back 5 starts for Jared Parker to suck up a loss. Of course, he hasn't been winning many either, but it's not his fault. He's pitched great baseball over the span. His teammates have not scored him many runs, so it's been kind of tough going. Lack of support, but his stuff is good. He'll throw you strikes, doesn't walk a lot of guys. The one thing he's done this year, though, is allowed 16 home runs. So he'll give up the long ball, won't put many on base, and he'll force the ball into play. In fact, he's doing that about as well as anybody in baseball presently.
Coming up next, youth is being served. 22-year-old shortstop Jonathan Villar made his Major League debut successfully last night. Layla Rahimi has more in just a moment.
stretch of Game 2 in the 3-game series between the Astros and the A's. And as we eagerly await the home debut of Jared Cozart, there's another debut that is not remiss to discuss. That is the one of Jonathan Villar. He made his Major League debut last night. The 22-year-old shortstop did his best to impress, hitting leadoff. There you see his bunt single that got him on base, and then he was able to steal as well. Villar wasn't done. He also scored a run in the game, which is exactly what the Astros were hoping for. Got on base, hustled, stole a base, and then he was able to be brought home. And Villar insisted after the game that he was not nervous. He cites his experience in winter ball, playing alongside players like Manny Ramirez and Miguel Tejada as good experience for that. In fact, Bo Porter, I asked him before the game today if he was at all concerned about Villar's nerves, and Porter said no, absolutely not. He's not nervous. In fact, he may have thought that he needed to come here a little bit before we ended up bringing him here. But Villar is very complimented as well by his fellow teammates. Jason Castro said that he's a high-energy player and that he actually reminded him of Brandon Barnes, and that Villar's play keeps the opposing team on their toes. They hope that trend continues as Villar hits leadoff tonight. Coming up, it is round 2 between the A's and the Astros. With Jared Cozart on the hill, how will he fare against the A's hitters as the Astros look for their first win of the season against Oakland? Bill Brown and Ella Ashby on the call when we return from Houston.
Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by the Smurfs 2 in theaters July 31st. There's the Cozart family. Jared's mother, father, and girlfriend watching. He went to Clear Creek High School in the Houston suburbs. And now he is pitching at home for the first time. He grew up an Astros fan, attended the 2005 World Series, and probably has had this dream for quite some time, Ash.
Well, his dream is starting to wake him up, and in that waking, he still has everything going on. How can you even dream of coming up your first game, take a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and then finish with 8 shutout innings, 2-hit ball against a red-hot Tampa Bay club?
23 years old. And here's the starting lineup for the Oakland Athletics. Coco Crisp leads it off in center field. It's John Jaso, the catcher. Batting third is shortstop Jed Lowry. The cleanup man is third baseman Josh Donaldson. With Brandon Moss at first base, Josh Reddick in right field, Chris Young in left, Seth Smith, the DH, and Eric Sogard, the second baseman. Jared Parker's the pitcher.
We've talked about him. Jared Cozart on the hill. Make that Cozart, excuse me. 23 years of age. And just about 10 days ago or so, that Major League debut, dominating the Tampa Bay Rays and beating Cy Young Award winner David Price in the process. First time he will now face these Oakland A's, a team that has dominated Houston. Defensively, behind Jared Cozart, it'll be Jason Castro beyond the dish. Around the infield, Brett Wallace, Jose Altuve, Jonathan Villar, who shined in his debut last night, and Matt Dominguez. In the outfield, Brandon Barnes in center, flanked by Justin Maxwell in right and J.D. Martinez in left.
Coco Crisp will lead it off. By the way, Yoenis Cespedes continues to be out of the lineup with a hand injury. He won the home run derby at the All-Star team game, but nonetheless has not been able to play since then. He injured the left-handed batting practice before the Friday night game, and he has missed the first 4 after the break so far. Coco Crisp at .258 with 9 homers, has 36 runs batted in and a .340 on base average for Crisp. He had a hit and a walk last night. First pitch for Cozart is ball 1. Crisp is hitting .400 against Houston pitching. Cozart, after making that debut at Tampa Bay, went back to AAA Oklahoma City, stayed there the required 10 days, and just returned to the roster today. That's chop foul, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Cozart, native of League City, graduate of Clear Creek High School in 2008. He was a Rawlings second-team All-America there, and the Astros got him in that trade with the Phillies. Well, it's taken some work, but now he has arrived at the major league level. And did he ever arrive in that first major league start? That's in for a strike to Crisp, and that makes it 1-2. Marvin Hudson's the home plate umpire.
The 2 strikes, 1 a foul ball and 1 taking a strike, probably finding more of the heart of the plate up than we saw all night with Cozart against Tampa Bay.
He was a 38th round draft choice of the Phillies in 08. Traded in the Hunter Pence deal in July of 2011. That's flick foul by Crisp. And still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He has hit 3 leadoff home runs leading off games this season. And he's gone deep 3 times against the Astros this year. Cozart really lit it up for Oklahoma City. He was the AAA pitcher of the month in April in the Astros system, going 3-0 with a 2.63 ERA to get his season started very well for the Red Hawks. The curveball is fouled outside the first base line, and the count remains 1-2.
Much like a Jordan Lyles curveball, right over the top. Lyles has parlayed that curveball into some big nights with strikeouts.
Cozart officially was recalled from AAA today. Carlos Pena officially was designated for assignment today. So that was the roster move that got Jared on the major league roster. He was not at the ballpark yesterday, wasn't officially a member of the team until today. That's there for strikeout number 1 for Mr. Cozart tonight.
Coco Crisp apparently felt that was out of the strike zone, but that's an awfully good pitch. The family can really have a tough time on nights like this. Much easier to be the player than that family up there. You can only sit and watch and just pray that the young family member does well.
Going to be fun to watch them tonight. John Jaso's the batter. Good hitting catcher. More of an offensive player than Derek Norris, who caught last night. Norris a better receiver and game caller according to their reputations. There's ball 1 to Jaso. 266, 2 homers, 20 runs batted in for the lefty hitting catcher. He used to play for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now it's 2 balls, no strikes. Jaso, 29 years old. He played for Seattle last year, but was with Tampa Bay from 08 through 2011. Oakland got him in a trade in January. It's a 3-ball, no strike count. Jaso's kind of part of the Billy Ball type philosophy of the Oakland Athletics. High on base average, 375. 34 walks, 44 strikeouts for Jaso. There's a strike, and it's 3-1.
A number of the fastballs from Jared Cozart will have a little cut right at the end, a la Mariano Rivera. Not quite that size.
Jed Lowry's on deck. That's ball 4, and J-So takes a stroll.
Very close, down under the knees.
J-So at first, Jed Lowry the batter. Lowry 0 for 5 in last night's game, and his average, which had been over 300 for quite some time, now has slipped down to 287. He has 7 homers. He's driven in 37 runs. Lowry's hit well against the Astros this year. 364, 2 homers. He's driven in 8. Double play depth for Altuve and Villar. That is strike 1. Very good pitch at 96. Some high octane stuff, Ash.
Does it easily too. It's kind of sneaky in that regard. He'll be steadily 94 to 96.
Astros have lost 6 in a row for the 5th 6-game losing streak for them this year. That's in for a strike, and it's 0-2 on Lowry. John Singleton came in the trade along with Cozart from Philadelphia, along with right-handed reliever Josh Zeid and outfielder Domingo Santana, as Hunter Pence went to the Phillies. That was July 29th, 2 years ago. Foul back. There may be another such deal in the offing for the Astros. We'll know in about a week. The trade deadline a week from tomorrow night. That's the non-waiver trade deadline. There can be trades after the end of July, but players have to clear waivers before they're dealt. And we haven't had any deals today, have we, Ash?
Not that I've heard of. We'll have to scour everything going on. Thinking about that deal, boy, even if it was only Jared Cozart that you got for Hunter Pence and what he looks like he might be able to do, that would be a solid deal.
That's a good point. 1 and 2. There are very high hopes for John Singleton. He's hitting somewhere around 220, 225 right now at Oklahoma City. Bull Porter's club just trying to get on track. Built a 3-0 lead in last night's game. Things were looking great. And then in the 6th inning, Oakland pecked away with a run. Hit a 7th inning homer. Hit a 2-run homer in the 8th and won it 4-3. As a result, Oakland has won all 10 games against Houston this year, and 12 in a row going back to before that. Foul back. It's quite a stranglehold the Athletics have had on the Astros, and they have just done things extremely well, especially pitching well against Houston. But Oakland has scored 72 runs in the 10 games against Houston, hitting 15 homers with an OPS near 900 for their club against Astros pitching. They've been at their best, and they're 58 and 41 overall. Just been at their best against this club. They're 25 and 17 against the American League West, but without that 10 and 0 against Houston, their overall record wouldn't look nearly as good, Ash.
They've had that dominance against the Astros. They've hit so well. Now you look at some of the numbers, you can really see why, but it's hard to figure why the A's have so thoroughly dominated Houston pitching. A staff that is last in the league in terms of ERA, but also that the A's have struggled against other clubs in the league.
Lowry takes it, and it's 2-2. Crowd really into this one. A lot of Cozart supporters here, hoping that would have been a strike.
One of those frustrating at-bats for a pitcher. I don't care if you're young or you've been around forever. When you get a guy early on in the ball game that starts fouling off close pitches and working you deep in the count, and your pitch totals in the first inning now at 18, and this pitch will be 19, it just makes it rough on anybody.
Bouncer through the right side. J-So takes a look at his third base coach. Mike Gallego holds him at second, and it's a single for Lowry. Not hit particularly well, but with that hole on the right side, he took advantage of it.
As a pitcher, you'd rather have that guy hit the first pitch on the ground through the right side, and you battle, and just a 3-hopper finds its way through.
And that brings up Josh Donaldson. Donaldson has had a whale of a season so far. He got a lot of All-Star consideration. Did not go to the All-Star team. 303, 16 homers, 61 runs batted in, and 877 OPS for Donaldson, hitting cleanup. Josh, 27 years old, from Auburn, where he was a catcher and third baseman. And he has made himself into a very fine defensive player at third. There was a play he did not make last night. It was ruled a double, but he's been very fine at that third base spot. That's ball 1 to it.
Manny Machado, the guy that went as the backup third baseman for the American League club. But I'll tell you what, you could argue these numbers that Donaldson's put up this year against a terrific season for Manny Machado.
Sure could. And he's hit .354 with runners in scoring position this year. Fouls that one back. It's 1-1. Oakland is 7th in the American League in runs scored with 440. Leading the league in walks. And it's pitching, which has largely been responsible for Oakland's 58-41 record. Bob Melvin has a solid starting rotation.
Their defense was shabby last night, gave the Astros an early opportunity, but like the A's so often do, they battled back and found a way to win.
There's a shot into left field. Jaso's being brought around third, brought to the plate, and now the throw's cut off, and he is out at third base on a throw from Matt Dominguez to Jonathan Villar. J.D. Martinez's throw into the cutoff man, then sent on over to third, where Jaso is out number 2.
That's tough as a base runner. You come around the bag hard, trusting your third base coach, who is down the line, and if he brings you to a point and then wants you to get back, it's on you to get there. Yeah, not much of a real indication there from Mike Gallegos.
No.
Just kind of casually had hands out, like, I think maybe it's time to stop. I know as a player, I'd love to see that third base coach approaching the third base line and heading toward home plate a bit, moving at least halfway in that direction.
Now Brandon Moss is the batter. Moss takes a look at it. It's ball 1 to the first baseman with 16 homers, 45 runs batted in, and a .236 batting average.
What the Astros did really well on that play, though, hitting the cutoff man, enabling that guy to make the decision, and you get the out.
Moss takes a look at another, and it's 2 balls, no strikes to Brandon. Formerly with the Boston Red Sox. This will be the 25th pitch of the inning coming up for Cozart. Dallas Keuchel gave the Astros a very good start last night. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. It'll be Bud Norris tomorrow at 1:10. Fouled away by Moss. That takes the count to 2-1. Moss is among the starters, and there are 7 of those in the lineup tonight for Oakland with great career numbers against the Astros. He's hit .375 against Houston this year, and 7 of those 9 starters are hitting over .300 for their career against the Astros. Including, of course, Chris Young, who's been an Astro killer. That's a shot, and off the glove of Dominguez, it gets into left field. Now Lowry's being sent home. Here's the throw from Dominguez, offline, and Oakland scores to make it 1-0. That was a hot shot, but Dominguez unable to hold it. And then Lowry came around third. He looked a bit uncertain as to whether he was being sent home or not, as well by Gallego, but he scored the first run of the game.
Even if you're not talking about a guy that's had rave reviews defensively, as has Matt Dominguez, this is a ball that needs to be caught in the big leagues. That slicer by the left-hand hitter can often surprise a third sacker. Wow, that's tough to be the family. You just can't do a thing. Got to sit and be as casual as can be.
It's an error on Dominguez.
Yeah, for me, no doubt about that.
10th error of the year for Matt. And 26 pitches have been thrown in the inning by Cozart. So no RBI for Moss. And Josh Reddick will bat. Reddick pumped home run number 5 of the season last night, and that proved to be the game winner. A 2-run shot in the 8th inning off Wesley Wright. 219, 5 homers, 34 runs batted in.
So there's the first run scored against Cozart in the big leagues. It comes unearned.
Reddick 1 for 3 in last night's game. Josh trying to get on track after hitting 32 homers, driving in 85 runs last year. Made a tremendous diving catch in last night's game. That one cut in on him a little bit, and he fouled it for a 1-1 count. Cozart made the start for the Pacific Coast League in the AAA All-Star game July 18th. So he's working on the typical 4 days rest since then. He took the loss. He gave up 4 runs in an inning and 2/3 in that AAA All-Star game in Reno, Nevada. That's in for a strike. That makes it 1-2.
Doesn't look like he's humping up, overthrowing at all. 96 miles an hour. It's a lengthy first inning and now 29 pitches.
That's hit to left field. J.D. Martinez waiting to put it away. 1 unearned run scoring, and Oakland comes up with 2 hits with the 1 Houston error, and it's Oakland 1, Houston coming up. Now Bo Porter's ball club comes to the plate against Jared Parker with the leadoff man, shortstop Jonathan Villar. Jose Altuve bats second, playing second base. The number 3 hitter is catcher Jason Castro, followed by designated hitter Chris Carter, first baseman Brett Wallace, left fielder J.D. Martinez, right fielder Justin Maxwell, third baseman Matt Dominguez, center fielder Brandon Barnes.
Right-hander, 24 years of age, Jared Parker on the hill, 6-6, 3.95 the ERA. He's gone 5 consecutive starts. Make that 4 consecutive without a decision. You have to go 5 back, as he picked up a win, that at Texas against the Rangers in 7 innings, but he's pitched well, and yet the A's have not scored for him as he continues to take no decisions. Defensively for the A's, John Jaso behind the dish around the infield right to left. Brandon Moss, Eric Sogard, Jed Lowry, and Josh Donaldson in the outfield. Coco Crisp in center, flanked by Josh Reddick in right and Chris Young in left.
Now with the third baseman Donaldson in on the grass, it's Jonathan Villar leading it off. Showing bunt, and that is strike one call. Villar got the bunt single last night. The switch hitter dropped one down batting right-handed as he went 1 for 4 with that bunt single, stole a base, scored a run. First shortstop in Astros history to record a hit, a run, and a steal in his major league debut. And now a liner, possibly for extra bases into that right field corner. He'll get to second base easily as Reddick gets it back in. Villar with his first extra base hit as a major leaguer.
You get ahead in the count, you like to loosen it up. Just let it fly, and that's exactly what Jonathan Villar does here. And when he hits one that's not directly at an outfielder, you can put it in writing. He is going to have extra bases. Very good speed. Yeah, this is good stuff, and there's no guarantee he stays at second.
Jose Altuve will try to aid and assist his advancement around the bases. Altuve at 279 has 3 homers, 30 runs batted in, a 316 on base average. He was 0 for 2 with 2 walks last night, stole a base. And that's called a swing, and strike one. Marvin Hudson called it. Parker's facing the Astros for the first time in his career. 24 years old. He was a first-round pick of Arizona in 07, the 9th player drafted. Oakland got him in a trade, multiplayer deal after the 2011 season. He turns back towards second. Parker was born in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and the cry was Suey Pig when he attended the University of Arkansas.
Not bad if you're a guy, but if you're one of the young ladies going to school there, just can't be flattering.
That doesn't work at all. That's lashed off the glove of the third sacker. Donaldson scrambles. He doesn't have a throw. That was a hot shot. And Villar got to third base. Donaldson reacted quickly, but that was just too much heat from Altuve's bat.
Whole lot of reacting going on this play, and the good part was Villar, as he had to freeze and then able to take off and get into third base as he reads this ball that's not far away from that baseline, reads it perfectly.
He sure did. A lot of base runners would not have advanced on that. Didn't get that far behind Donaldson.
That's the combination of instincts and speed.
Now first and third, nobody out for Jason Castro. He's driven in 32. Double play depth for Lowry and Sogard. Good speed at the corners. Castro fouls it away for strike one. More on that base running of Villar.
Well, he's shown a lot early on in his big league stint. You can see how he froze, and he was ready to head back to second base quickly had this ball been caught. But as soon as he saw it drop, terrific reaction, and that's all about reading where that ball is going to wind up.
Castro had a rough night last night, going 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He looks at that one for a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Jason. But still, the Astros all-star representative, ranking high among American League catchers, second in slugging, doubles and extra base hits, third in homers and OPS, and fourth in hits among American League catchers. He's really settled into this number 3 spot in the lineup. This is 65 times in the last 75 games. He's been in that number 3 spot when he started. Throw goes over on Altuve. Altuve with 22 steals in 29 tries will keep the Oakland club occupied. Well, he might have hurt something going back into the bag there. Wincing a little bit alongside Dave Clark, the first base coach. He stole a base last night. Castro looks at one in the dirt. Jaso scrambles for it. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. You were absolutely right in what you said about Jared Parker, a tough luck pitcher. with Oakland not giving him a whole lot of run support lately. His month of April was nothing to write home about, with a 7.36 ERA. But in May he was 2-2 with a 3.62 for Bob Melvin. In June 3-0 with a 2.08, and he's had 2 very good starts in July. That's fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Castro.
Go through one of those spells as a pitcher where, as Parker has 4 consecutive starts, all quality numbers as you look through them, and nothing but no decisions.
Last year he was 13-8 for Oakland with a 3.47 ERA. Came up with Arizona in 2011, only had 1 major league start that year. Before being in the rotation all season last year, 29 starts for Oakland. Time is called at first base. Altuve tying his shoe.
The irony for Parker, as he picked up the 4 no decisions, the A's went 0-4 in that span.
They have really been solid in their starting rotation this year. It is tough to find a chink in the armor. Tommy Malone followed suit last night. 6 innings, 2 earned runs for Malone. And they get a quality start. Their record's 45-15. Throw goes over.
I thought the really intriguing stat on the Oakland A's staff, which, as you say, has pitched very, very well. But really intriguing to me that a 5-man rotation has all but 5 of the starts for this club on the season.
Last time out for Parker, he gave up 2 runs in 7 innings against Boston. It's a liner over Sogard into right center field. That'll tie it at 1. Now Altuve will take the turn, and there's the strong arm of Reddick. RBI single Castro. 33rd run batted in, scoring VR. 1, 2, 3 hitters in the order, all reaching on hits. A couple of these line drives, and well, all 3 of them really have been blistered.
Nice job again by Jason Castro. But we're starting to see in just the 2nd game now for Jonathan Villar that he's got an ability to get on. He makes things happen, and he's scoring runs. And that's the bottom line of having those guys that can run at the top of the batting order.
Jordan Baker's the first base umpire. Castro with his lead. Altuve off second. Chris Carter looks at ball 1. The DH had 228 with 18 homers. 48 runs batted in. Went 1 for 4 last night. He had an RBI single in the 3rd and scored a run in the game. Chris has reached base in 24 of his last 26 games. That's in the air, and they're getting up in the seats for a 1 ball, 1 strike count.
Last night we saw that Chris Carter has been doing well with pitches out over the plate, not quite to the corner, and he got one right there out over the plate. Fastball to try to hammer.
Been doing some hammering since June 15th. He's hit 277, 9 homers, 9 doubles, 5 homers, and 13 runs batted in for an OPS of 972. 1 and 2, so that's a very good 5 weeks for Chris Carter. Doing those things you talked about, Ash, taking that pitch over the outside part of the plate, driving it more to the right of second base. It's been a key part of his turnaround.
He can drive it out to right field in a heartbeat.
He's a little off balance on that swing, puts it in the air to left, and Chris Young comes in. 1 out. You know, we talk about balance so much. That is a very integral part of hitting a baseball, and it just didn't look as if he had it on that swing.
Parker has a very good changeup, and that's a key weapon that he'll bring, and he'll get some hitters out in front and losing the balance.
One more look at that swing.
You can see what kind of impact that change has as you start, and then you've got to try to hold back a little bit to try to make contact.
Red Wallace is the batter. Wallace takes strike one. Brett at .215 with 5 homers, has driven in 16. Last night he struck out in the 9th inning as a pinch hitter. Those numbers don't really tell the story of what he's done since a remake of his hitting. Since he's been recalled from AAA Oklahoma City, he's hit .275 for 69 at bats with 5 homers, 16 runs batted in. In the air, and Sogard, the second baseman, pursues it. Here comes Reddick from right field. 2 outs.
A ball in a similar but slightly shallower position last night dropped, but it wasn't Eric Sogard at second base. It looked like a little bit more take charge notion here.
Yeah, that was a problem. The Oakland club record for consecutive wins against one team, 16. Oakland beating the Yankees 16 straight times from September of '89 through May 1st of '91. J.D. Martinez has 7 homers. He's driven in 36. 12 straight wins currently for Oakland over Houston. There is ball 1. Martinez has driven in runs in 6 of his last 10 games. That's a first place club with a 3-game lead on Texas. Melvin's club in a stretch playing 12 of 15 on the road. Throwback to second on Altuve. Bull Porter said it was on him last night when Altuve was thrown out as he set sail for third base in the 8th inning. And the Oakland pitcher, Sean Doolittle, threw to the third baseman Donaldson.
Yeah, I wonder what that exactly means. Because a lot of times it's on the manager. If you've got a guy with a green light and you don't take it off and he gets thrown out in a certain scenario, I guess that's on the manager. But you're trying to be trusting of your quality players.
Well, he cited the pitcher's time to home plate at 1.67, and that is certainly a running situation with a stat like that. But Doolittle did not deliver the ball to the plate. He turned back towards second base, and Altuve was out going to third.
Well, part of the reality of last night's game is the Astros were very successful in inflicting that running game on the A's.
And they had 3 key steals early in the game. Martinez shoots one to right center field. A long run for Reddick. Reddick is there, though, for the 3rd out. And it's 1 run, 3 hits. VR double. Altuve ripped a line drive off the third baseman's glove. Then RBI single. Castro 1-1 after 1.
At 1 apiece, and it is time for our AT&T tweet of the game, coming from the starting pitcher at Jared Cozart. Never felt so good to say I'm home. Time to go to work at Astros. That was at 9:51 yesterday. And then last night at the early hour of 10:29. Never felt so good. That's right. That's the first one. And then attempt number 2 to fall asleep tonight begins. Interesting point about that, Brownie, is that at 10:29, I think this game was still going on. So first of all, what's a young guy like him trying to do falling asleep for the second time at 10:29? And then his catcher, Jason Castro, had a nice compliment for him. Said he likes to see him go up the ladder with that 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but he said he's been sitting in that 94 to 96 range, and that's been working for him. A nice adjustment he's made for the spring training guys.
Nice place to sit, Layla.
No doubt.
We wouldn't know, would we?
No, but we do know how to not fall asleep at 10:29, thank goodness.
Chris Young leads it off in a 1-1 game. Taking strike 1 at 95 as he sits there in the mid-90s. Chris at 195 with 9 homers and 30 runs batted in, but against the Astros, 333, 3 homers, 10 runs batted in. So he's hitting about 166 against the rest of Major League Baseball. And that's typical for Chris Young. Ground ball to Matt Dominguez. That's out number 1. And Young struck again last night. He had a triple and a homer in 5 at bats. He loves Minute Maid Park. He's hitting .404 here.
Sometimes when you've got a Jared Cozart on the hill, you may not love the ballpark as much as you did on other given nights.
That's a good point. Yeah, the pitcher might turn those ballpark factors around on you. In the last 16 games, Seth Smith has hit 132. 255 for the season, 6 homers. He's driven in 32. And it's ball 1. Smith last night 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Oakland's had a lot of hitters who have not been doing a whole lot in the last 10 days. Foul back, but the odd thing is it really has not stopped them from their appointed purpose of winning games. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitching has been so good. They are 10-6 in July. And they've averaged under 4 runs per game in the month. Tap foul. Since May 17th, the Athletics are 38-19. In fact, going back to a calendar year ago, they have the best record in Major League Baseball.
That's really something. Obviously a club not known for spending, and they keep losing players as those guys are ready for arbitration or free agency, and yet they keep reloading.
2 balls, 2 strikes. They certainly have not had a high payroll for many years. They put some component parts together last year that absolutely caught fire in the second half of the season. It's a 3-ball, 2-strike count with Eric Sogard on deck.
Yeah, Jared Cozart is going to have to find a way to tidy up the pitch count after that lengthy first inning.
Grounded slowly. Altuve was on the outfield grass. He comes in and throws to get Smith 2 outs.
In Jared Cozart's first start against Tampa Bay, you can see the numbers. The fastball was so well located that the batting average against at .056, slugging same number. That means the hits were singles, and the strike percentage, not the strikeout, but strike percentage, sky high. He just was outstanding. You could see the velocity at over 94 miles an hour. Again, he settled in 94 to 96. And he has the other pitches too, but when he's that good with the fastball, he can pretty much dominate with that. It certainly would appear early on.
Eric Sogard is a pesky number 9 hitter. Strike 1 to Sogard, who hit a home run in Sunday's Oakland win, 264, 2 homers, 15 runs batted in for Harry Potter.
Going with that one, huh?
Yeah, I like that one on him. That's in for strike 2.
Just 96 pumped right through the heart, and I think that's a either a hitter guessing something off speed, for what reason I wouldn't know, or just taking all the way on the 0-1.
Sogard's 27. He's from Phoenix. Went to Arizona State. That's out to left field. J.D. Martinez over to left center and makes the running catch for a 1-2-3 second for Jared Cozart. It's 1-1.
Houston.com and click on In-Game Live to enhance your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz. In-Game Live only on CSNHouston.com.
They're having a good time on a Tuesday night. Day baseball tomorrow. Travel day for both these teams. It's 1-1 here. Justin Maxwell leading it off. In the home second inning at 2:44, he has 1 homer and 6 runs batted in for J-Max. That's in tight to him. Ball 1. Maxwell took his hitting streak to 4 games last night. He doubled to right, stole third, and scored a run. It's a 1-1 strike. Count for Parker. Shooting for win number 7 of the year. A.J. Griffin goes for Oakland tomorrow against Bud Norris at 1:10. Astros live pregame comes your way at 12:30. Maxwell fouls it. It's 1-2 to Justin. Oakland starting pitching. Very good lately. 1 walk or fewer in 7 consecutive games. Second time this year the Oakland starters have done that. They're averaging 2.23 walks per 9 innings. 2-2 to Maxwell. And for the season, their starting pitchers have the second lowest ERA in the American League, 3.80, and they're second in innings pitched. They have some guys, and Bartolo Colon is certainly at the forefront who can pile up innings. Colon already has 135 innings under his belt. That's in for strike 3 call. First strikeout for Parker. Maxwell just standing there for a while having a word or two with Marvin Hudson.
As Ryan Braun goes down for the season's count yesterday, and Bartolo Colon on that list, perfectly spotted fastball. Justin Maxwell just didn't have a response. I think the Oakland A's have to be highly concerned about Bartolo Colon with his name on that biogenesis list and what could happen, and the fact that the A's may be without their ace the rest of the year at some point.
Oh, that would be a killer loss for them after he served the 50-game suspension last year. Matt Dominguez with ball 1 carries a .230 average, 11 homers, 48 runs batted in. He's tied for the club RBI lead with Chris Carter. And Matt has been hitting 8th most of the year. Leads all number 8 hitters and runs batted in. 2 balls, no strikes to Matt Dominguez. In fact, his RBI count while batting 8th is tied for 4th in single season totals in Astros history. And it's 3 balls, no strikes to Matt. Did you read Ryan Braun's statement yesterday?
Yes.
That's ball 4. So the rare walk comes from Parker. And to the number 8 hitter on 4 straight pitches.
And before we get to some of those comments, August 9th through the 12th, the Astros take on the Texas Rangers for the final time at Minute Maid Park this year. The series features a big and bright Friday night on the 9th and a Texas Country Street Fest before the game on the 10th. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com for your tickets.
Brandon Barnes steps up. He was 1 for 4 in last night's game. He's on a 4-game hitting streak. Double play depth for Lowry and Sogard with 1 out in the inning. Bunted. Donaldson in, barehanding, throwing on the run. He gets Barnes. Excellent play by Donaldson. 2 outs. Dominguez to second base.
That was a good bunt, too. That's a heck of a play defensively. Brandon Barnes doesn't scorch with the wheels, but he runs well. And with that kind of a bunt, most of the time you figure to beat it. Pitcher beware, get yourself out of the territory. That throw just might take a lip off.
Yeah. Well, Barnes is thrown out for out number 2. Dominguez to second base, and it's Jonathan Villar batting for the second time. He whistled a double into the right field corner and scored in the first inning. There's strike 1 to Villar. There was an excellent story written about him today in the Houston Chronicle. Jesus Ortiz writing that story about Jonathan's grandmother raising him and sending him out to play baseball at every available opportunity, telling him that was his destiny. 0-2. I asked him if his family and friends were watching in the Dominican Republic last night. He said, oh yeah. He's from La Vega. And Layla has already told us the story about him playing in the Dominican and winter ball alongside some big names like Manny Ramirez and others. And that made it less of a big deal last night to be on the field with these major league players in his debut.
Yeah, I think that would go a long ways. And anybody who's done the winter ball thing in the Dominican Republic, a lot of big name players will pass through.
There's a stop by Jaso, 1-2. And it's a pressure packed environment in the Dominican. The fans can be brutal on players who don't perform in that league.
It can at times feel more intense, I think, than it maybe does, especially for the native players there.
Yep. So if they can survive that pressure cooker, it's a good sign that they might be able to do that same thing in the majors. Villar is down on strikes. Strikeout number 2 for Parker. Coming up next, Jared Cozart, which is inning number 3 of his first home game as a major leaguer. It's 1-1.
Bay Park on August 9th for the next big and bright Friday night against the Texas Rangers. It's at 7:10. Stay after the game for a spectacular fireworks show courtesy of Marathon Oil Corporation. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com for tickets. Bill and Alan, back to you.
Thank you, Layla. And back to Jared Cozart in a 1-1 game. Inning number 3, top of the order, Coco Crisp. Crisp led off the game. He took strike 3. Ball 1. Cozart went to the Arizona Fall League after last season to get ready for what should be a very interesting year for him. Deep breathing is recommended.
Thing you want to make sure is keep on breathing.
Yeah.
He looks like he's cool and calm. Maybe some butterflies with the family in, but saw him in the dugout today bouncing around, and just looked like a guy who's kind of soaking it in and feels like he's ready and prepared to be here.
That's dribbled a foul off the leg of Coco Crisp. 2-1. Well, you see Crisp and Young and how well they've done against the Astros. These are two of the nemesis players, and there are others too on this Oakland club against Houston in their 10-0 run against the Astros this year.
It's been amazing offensively what the A's have done against Astros pitching, led by these two guys early on in the season. Coco Crisp was just insanely hot against Houston.
Fly ball, and that will land as a hit for Coco Crisp. Crisp is aboard with hit number 3 for Oakland.
As a pitcher, you try to get in on the hands, and that's exactly what happened here. Sometimes that leads to the little flares. Good fastball coming in there. A little cutoff swing by Crisp. You take that quail dropping in any time.
Crisp is a base stealer with 15 steals and 19 tries this year. John Jaso walked his first time up. Jaso has good bat control, so there could be a hit and run working. Would you prefer the hit and run with nobody out, or would you wait till 1 out in the inning? What's the best time for that play?
For me, usually 1 out. In fact, at one time it was almost solely done in that scenario. I would rather have a guy running on a green light if you feel like, especially a guy like Coco Crisp. But I hate to see hitters for the first out of the inning give themselves up in that effort to move a guy over.
Good point. Especially if the guy is really a legitimate base stealer. Go ahead and have him steal the base. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Just watching the footwork of Coco Crisp is interesting. And Eric Young was talking about this a few weeks ago. This is the recommended way for a base stealer to take his lead, with the right foot behind the left foot, so he can do that crossover step and get moving very quickly. The feet should not be even. The toes should not be even with each other, because that will hamper that turn towards second and the crossover step by the left leg.
That's what I was doing wrong.
Is that it? You had your feet even?
Yeah. The question I would ask is, we've got a gentleman getting Bill Brown to autograph items for his family. The question I would ask is, what about getting back to the bag at first base? You're kind of closed off, but guys seem to handle it very easily.
Jaso takes the walk. That's 2 for him tonight. First and second for Jed Lowry with nobody out. Castro goes out. And the situation with walks is really going to be something to watch for Jared Cozart. How does he do in controlling the walks at the major league level? In the past, that's been something the Astros have taken a look at, and they have hoped that he would improve in that regard, and he has shown improvement in that regard.
Jared Cozart did a nice job getting ground balls in that debut start in Tampa Bay. And yet, in watching him, I don't see him as a long-term ground ball inducer, but he could certainly use one of those ground balls to get a double play here.
With the pitch count at 49 right here, that would really help him. Lowry grounded a single through the right side his first time up. Now, last year at Corpus Christi, Cozart walked 38 in 87 innings. And at Oklahoma City, he had 13 walks in 27 innings. Lowry looks at it. It's ball one to Jed. Cozart, when he was recalled, was third in the Pacific Coast League and batting average against just .213. Fifth in ERA, 3.29 in the Pacific Coast League, and fifth in strikeouts. And now, how will those numbers look after several turns through the rotation in the big leagues? That's what everybody wonders about a player his first time up. 1-1.
If you're struggling at all with command, these Oakland A's are not an easy club to pitch to. They will work counts about as well as most of the really good clubs in that regard.
Cozart had signed a letter of intent to go to the University of Missouri when the Phillies signed him. Fouled away.
Well, Brownie, you brought up back an inning ago or so about Ryan Braun and the comments, the alleged apology that he made yesterday.
All right, first of all, according to the stories, he did not speak with the media. He spoke to his teammates and apologized to them. Then he left the stadium, Miller Park. So, not speaking to the media, but just issuing a statement. Apparently, that's the way it came out. And it was something like, I realize now I've made a mistake. I realize now?
Yeah.
Only now?
But that's where it really goes wrong for me. It's not a sincere apology. It's one that says, oh, you know, I didn't realize until now that I had made a mistake, and maybe now I have to accept the fact that I did something wrong.
It sounds as if, well, it was a mistake because they caught me.
Yeah. Well, it's human nature, but a whole lot more, I think, would have helped. Although I think Ryan Braun, because of the comments he's made over the past year and the way he kind of dealt with the gentleman who really just picked up his sample from a year and a half, 2 years ago, it feels like it's too late.
Donaldson, the batter, after the strikeout of Lowry, he gets a hook. Now that could be an interesting change here for Cozart to drop that hammer on him for strike one, first pitch in the sequence. We haven't seen much of that early in the count, have we?
No, we haven't seen the curveball much at all. And he's caught a few fastballs, but I think he's just simply not feeling the command that he felt in Tampa Bay.
That's a very good point, Ash.
When you do that, and everybody will do that, Cy Young Award winners on down to the bottom of the heap, but you got to find a way to survive, and to this point he's doing that. So you're saying, Brownie, that these comments of I realize now that I've made a mistake and I'm willing to accept the consequences of those actions, those are comments that Braun made to his teammates.
Well, he said that to the media through either a statement or maybe over the telephone. I don't know what he said to his teammates.
That would explain why there's no stand-up headshot of him with an interview.
Well, and we had the stand-up headshot of him, where was it, in Dodger Stadium when he talked to the media, and was very combative and said he had done nothing wrong. So that's still in the memories of a lot of us. That version of Brian Braun.
Well, there was a version in spring training as well.
Okay.
And sweeping it all away. We're done. We're done with this thing. I guess that was following the winter when he could have been suspended for the first time. He got away with that one. Yeah, I'm glad Not that Ryan Braun's been caught and he's the guy that has to suffer the consequences. I'm just glad, and I hope we can continue to move in that direction as Major League Baseball hopefully gets this nonsense cleaned up.
That one didn't come out of Cozart's hand very well, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Donaldson. Yoenis Cespedes, as we mentioned, sidelined again tonight. This is the 5th straight game. He has not been able to start. Oakland has a record of 49-29 with Cespedes in the starting lineup, and 9-12 without him, even though he's not having as good a year as he had last year. Bouncer, and this will trickle to Altuve's left and over to Wallace, who had to get back to the bag safe, and the bases are loaded. Wallace broke for the ball, and then Altuve had to really go a long way to get there, and he had to throw to an unoccupied first base. Wallace got there and caught it, but Donaldson was able to beat it.
Yeah, that's one I need to see again. I'm trying to figure out why it took so long for Brett to get back to the bag. Now, that ground ball he doesn't have a shot at, but right now it looks like he thinks he's a cutoff man for his right fielder.
Right.
And I wonder if that caused an extra beat there for Altuve, and it may have.
Yeah, it looked exactly that way, Ash. Still a close play. But Donaldson reaches. He's 2 for 2 now. Bases loaded, 1 out. Well, Brandon Moss really close, but it appears Jordan Baker got the call right.
Yeah, without that extra beat or half beat, does Altuve get the out? I think he might.
Looked like that way. Sure did. That's ball 1. Well, Wallace may have thought, and the way it first appeared from up here, that the ball could get by Altuve and trickle on into right field. Jose had a long way to go, but the ball was slowly hit. So he did get a chance to glove it.
Yeah, and Brett Wallace has multiple responsibilities on the play, depending on where the ball winds up.
Foul back, 1-1. You know, Pete Rose played. He was an all-star at 5 different positions, and playing first base late in his career, he always talked about how that was a much more involved position than he ever realized before he played it, because of those multiple responsibilities you talk about and the footwork involved and the quick decisions that have to be made.
It's the position where the old guys who can still swing the bat tend to wind up. But everyone will tell you that very same story. It's not as easy as I thought.
That's in for a strike, 1-2, as Cozart tries to get out of this 3rd inning trouble spot.
You know, this is the kind of spotting of the baseball that Cozart had at his command, his seemingly every pitch disposal in Tampa Bay.
Crisp at 3rd, Jaso at 2nd, Donaldson at 1st. And the curve is in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Coco Crisp just dunks a little hand fister into center field to start it, then a walk to Jaso. And boy, that's the formula sometimes for really tough innings for a pitcher. Now, again, that ground ball would be exactly what the doctor would like to see.
Rolled out to Altuve, gets to it quickly, makes the throw to first. Now a run down, and the run scores. And now another run may score, but they tag the runner before it does. So Oakland gets 1 run home on that reverse double play. Crisp scoring, and then Jaso tried to get around too, but the tag was made. It's 4-3, 6-4, and it's 2-1 Athletics.
Astros 2-1 in the bottom of the third, and it is time now for a progressive fan of the game. And it's not just a fan. Jim Mallory, the retired coach from Clear Creek High School, is our progressive coach of the game. And why? Because you coached there from 1978 to 2011 and got to coach Jared Cozart. What was he like in high school?
Just super young man. Very smart, intelligent, power arm, good athlete. He could hit. He could play at any position he wanted to. It was just an honor to get to work with him.
To see him on this field at home, you're wearing an Astros hat. You knew he grew up as an Astros fan. What is this moment like for you as his coach?
It's extremely special. It really is.
And I know you're getting a little bit emotional, but this is not a secret plan for you. You've coached other major league players before, in Jay Buhner and also in Glenn Wilson, the former Astro. Right. To have three, what is that like?
I've just been blessed. You know, having good kids. It's a great game. I mean, it really is. And you know, a lot of life lessons are learned in the game, and you mix that with having good kids. It's a blessing, it really is.
And they are proud to have you. The field now at Clear Creek, named after Coach Mallory. He's our progressive coach of the game. Gets to watch yet another major league player in his hometown. Let's send it back upstairs to Bill and Al.
Good story, Layla. 1 ball, 1 strike. Altuve lined the ball off the glove of Josh Donaldson for a single in the first inning. Now it's a 2-1 count. That double play was the reverse double play variety in the top of the inning. That allowed Coco Crisp to score during the rundown before the tag of Donaldson. So because there's a tag involved on the third out in the inning, it's a timing play. And that means if Crisp steps on home plate before the tag is made on Donaldson, he scores a run. Altuve was trying to get there and tag Donaldson, but Donaldson stopped, and that's the proper move for a base runner. Now Donaldson throws 1 out. So we review it, Ash.
Yeah, it's an intriguing play, and it brings up a very intriguing question as to whether there's an RBI that needs to be provided right there. In my book, it seems there should be an RBI. We will find out at some point. Everybody's digging, trying to find out what the answer to that is.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is did Jose Altuve ultimately make the right choice? It was very good base running, enabling the A's to pick up a run.
Yep. And that was Donaldson, who, by stopping, then enabled Crisp to score the go-ahead run. The play was 4-3-6-4. Jason Castro drove in the Astros run in the first inning. There's strike 1. And then the other way to point something out on that play is to say, well, during that rundown, somebody should be yelling to the infielders involved in the rundown, hey, home plate. Crisp came in to score.
And likely somebody was. But at the same time, if you're pursuing in full speed a base runner in the path there, can you stop and quickly make that throw?
Right.
Tough to say. You know, I'm thinking about the RBI scenario. If you had a case where, for example, you had runners at second and third and 1 out, and the hitter hits a fly ball to an outfielder, the man tags from third and scores before the throw comes into third and the runner is tagged out trying to move, there would be an RBI on that double play. And I would think the same thing would apply here.
Yeah, you're probably right. Altuve was trying to rush in. He had to come in to get the ball and then put a quick tag on Donaldson and then throw to first to double up Moss. Donaldson just wouldn't let him. So at that point, he took the out at first, and the rundown followed for the third out. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Castro. Little things like that, Oakland helping to steal a run, so to speak, can be meaningful, especially if they're repeated a number of times over the course of a 6-month season. Runner runs into that tag, then it's a conventional 4-3 double play, and the run doesn't score. Changeup works for a strikeout for Parker. Number 3 for him.
talked about the fact that Parker gets a lot of outs on his first pitch. And that's because he has that changeup. Hitters want to be able to hit his fastball early in the count if they get deep in the count. And that changeup comes into play. Guys have been very unsuccessful.
Cozart on the bench, 2 outs, and it's Chris Carter batting. Trying to help get a rally started. He hit a fly ball to left after 3 consecutive hits off Parker. A strike 1 with the infield shifted around, playing Carter to pull. Astros now have the youngest roster in the major leagues, averaging 26.5 years. Parker spikes that one out in front of home plate for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. There is no RBI, we're told. On Moss. And the double play in the top of the inning.
So the lesson to be learned is hit a fly ball when you've got a man on third.
2 balls and a strike. The A's are 17 games over 500, and that's a season high for them. That's ball 3. It's a 3-1 count. Rangers are trailing the New York Yankees 3-0 there in the bottom of the 4th at Arlington, Texas. 3-2 now for Parker. Winning 10 straight from Houston this year. Oakland has outscored the Astros 74-35. Out to right field, Reddick to make it a 1-2-3 third for Parker and a 2-1 Oakland lead.
For the perfect way to combine business and baseball or unique space to hold your next event with state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice. Guys, I don't know about you, but I don't know that I'd fare too well in the batting cages. Bill, Brett, Alan, Ashby, you guys know how to do that better than me.
Well, knowing how to do it and doing it, we know Ashby.
Well, I think I can still foul off a few. I'm game for that. I think Layla could do it, though.
I've tried it at other parks in a past life, and let's just say this. I cannot see the ball well. And it's not because of vision issues.
Did you happen to catch Julia's act in the batting cage? I think it was at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Julia's more athletic than me.
Okay.
she's better at sports. I decided to watch him at a young age.
Well, back 1-2. Well, you got your career direction early.
I think the principal of Greece said something about that one time, if I recall. You can't be an athlete.
I'm not buying in at all. I can see some line drives coming off that bat.
Yeah.
Maybe if the ball is traveling at about 5 miles an hour. How about that?
Yeah.
I bet I could bunt okay.
Foul back. Well, you know, that's one thing we kind of miss, the speed of the game, because we're sitting way up here. And down where you are, you're much more able to judge the speed of the game. The closer you get to the field, the more of an impact that can have on a spectator. Watching the speed of the pitch, the quickness required, and reaction by the hitter, the fielders.
Where the rubber meets the road, this game looks very different than what we see watching night after night.
Cozart comes over, he tosses to Wallace.
You know, guys, I think the most interesting thing when you're down here, and it's the coolest seat in the house, is you can hear, and Ash, you know about this, you can hear a heavy ball. You know, when someone throws a heavy ball. Or you just know sometimes when the ball makes contact with the bat, like we were close when we saw Carlos Pena's walk-off home run, and you knew once it hit the bat, the sound sometimes tells you far more of the speed of the game and the result from the actual viewpoint itself.
There literally is a sound to a live four-seam fastball, and if you haven't been close enough, you've probably never heard the sound, but it's really one of those sounds that any player who's played can tell you, yeah, I know that sound you're talking about, and it's unique and really special when a guy has that kind of arm.
Strike to Chris Young on the curveball by Cozart. Infield shifted around, playing Young to pull. He swings at that one, and it's 0-2.
When you've got a dead arm or just don't have a good throwing arm, that baseball actually feels kind of heavy. When you get around the guy that's got the great live arm, it just makes the baseball look like a wiffle ball.
70 pitches for Cozart, who's been in the mid-90s a lot of the time tonight. Young not offering there, and it's 1-2 to Young, whose career .400 average at Minute Maid Park is tied for second by an Astro opponent, with Chipper Jones behind Joey Votto's .427 career mark here.
Need to find out if that cutting action that Cozart gets just comes naturally, by mistake, or intentionally. There it is again.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That's great fun for Jim Mallory, who spoke a few minutes ago with Layla, to watch the home debut of this 23-year-old right-hander after coaching him at Clear Creek High School. The breaking ball fouled by Chris Young. Oakland A's have seen a lot of rookie pitchers facing them. This is the 13th time this season they've faced a rookie starting pitcher. They've won 10 of the previous 12 games. Those 12 rookie starters have combined to go 1-7 with a 7.33 ERA against Oakland this year. The only win belongs to Justin Grimm of Texas. Out into left center field. Barnes coming in. Barnes laying out for it, and Brandon Barnes makes another beautiful play.
This guy's insane. It didn't look like he had a chance. And then he laid out, and you thought, well, maybe a chance. And baseball did not stick down in the pocket. He just hangs on to it, doesn't try to adjust. And that's key, because you try to make that adjustment, sometimes you'll drop it. Well, he makes one gem after another, doesn't he?
Oh, that's just a brilliant catch. You're right. It did not look as if he would have a chance at that. And then he just applied the rocket thrusters. He stretched out all the way to the backhand side.
Chris Young back at home thinking that's not the way to treat a guy at home.
It's hard to hit 400 at Minute Maid when guys make plays like that. There's strike one to Smith. Smith grounded out in the second inning. Just a tremendous play by Barnes. Add that to the reel. That reel is very lengthy already.
There's the changeup as it simply gets away. Hard pitch to perfect until you throw it and throw it and throw it.
Seth Smith has 2 hits in his last 32 at bats now. Pulls that one foul. 1-2. Barnes has just been absolutely sensational.
He does it coming in. He does it going side to side. He does it going back. Seems to have no fear whatsoever.
We're going to be racking our brains now trying to think of last Astros center fielder to make that many highlight reel catches in a season. Beautiful night out there. We'll have to think about that for a while. Swing and a miss, and Smith is down on strikes. That's number 3 for Jared Cozart, and it's 2-1 Athletics. Time now for Astros Trivia, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go to trivia. What former Astro was both Nolan Ryan's and Bob Gibson's 3,000th strikeout victory? I think I know this one, eh?
I thought I knew this one as well, but apparently my initial guess is wrong. I was chatting this one up a little while ago.
I don't want to give it away, but just so you know my guess, this was a left-handed hitting outfielder who came up with the Astros but was traded very early in his career to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And he became a Gold Glover type in the outfield.
Okay. Well, I know who it is now.
Okay. And he played in the mid-70s for the Big Red Machine. That's my guess. Brett Wallace is the batter. He hit a fly ball to right. While we were away, we were talking about that question. Well, gee, who's the last guy since Brandon Barnes in center field for the Astros to make this many highlight reel catches? Michael Bourne's name came up. Michael was outstanding in center field. And Steve Finley's name came up. He was another terrific center fielder. Whoa! Wallace hit by the pitch up around the right shoulder from Jared Parker, the 7th hit batsman for him this year.
Always hate to see these when they start hitting up near the hands. Does this look like it might have got a piece of, as you said, that lead shoulder? I don't know. It's kind of in that ugly zone.
It might have glanced off the shoulder and hit his right hand. Head athletic trainer Nate Lucero looking at Brett Wallace. He's looking at the right hand area, it would appear. And that would be the most troublesome spot to be hit in that type of situation.
It looks like Brett's just trying to gut it out. Yeah, well, that wasn't far from the facial area either.
No, that was scary. He's staying in.
Yeah, that was my initial thought, was hand. But then in watching the play, I thought, well, maybe it hit shoulder and forearm or something, but somehow found that hand. And so many of those pitches up and in will find the hands.
Maybe a little puffy, it's hard to tell. Well, he's hit by the pitch, leading it off here in the home fourth inning. And it's J.D. Martinez batting. J.D. hit a fly ball to right in the first inning. But yeah, I don't remember those guys making as many highlight reel catches as Brandon Barnes this year. And that's a very subjective memory, obviously. There's ball one. Barnes has been just absolutely spectacular. The degree of difficulty on that last catch in the top of the inning, a diving backhanded catch like that is very high.
Yeah, when you see a guy, and a lot of outfielders, you'll see the sliding catches. Sometimes the diving catches are not full out. This was complete full out sellout time for Brandon Barnes, and he doesn't seem to shy away at all in that regard.
In the air to right field for Reddick. Wallace over to tag. Reddick has a big time arm. 1 out. Let's look at some of the top efforts of Brandon Barnes this year.
Now that was moving into right center field here at Minute Maid Park. Excellent play deep into left center. The coming on toward the plate plays with the tumbles. But this is the one tonight. And I think that's as full out, laid out as we've seen him all year. Really a tremendous play. And Jared Cosart might feel like it was even better than we think.
Barnes hopes to be able to bat in this inning. Justin Maxwell is at the plate right now. He struck out looking in the second inning and lingered to talk it over with Marvin Hudson after the call. That's a tough pitch, strike one. Matt Dominguez is on deck. A's have 20 wins by a 1-run margin. That's second most in the majors, behind Arizona with 21. Popped up foul. Moss over. In the seats for strike two.
I think the young ladies had to fend for this one off. Did you see the kids get involved?
Yes. Jared Parker shooting for career win number 20. And coming into this game, in his first 19 starts this year, he had faced 468 batters. He retired 47 of those on one pitch, so 10% of the batters he faced, he got them out on one pitch. And that's the highest percentage for any American League starter. Right now he's at 55 pitches for the ball game. Breaking pitch works and he strikes out Maxwell. That's number 4.
Yeah, we've talked about the changeup that can induce some strikeouts for Parker. That slider looked like a good one.
It really did. Well disguised.
Jared Parker and the pitches he throws. You see the changeup is awfully tough. 184 the batting average against it. Fastball, like with most guys, you'll see the higher figures, and yet it's a pitch that pitchers have to be able to establish. The slider also very good, and we could see that on that last one. And then a leadoff slider leaves Matt Dominguez out in front.
Right-handed batters have been held to a .232 average against Parker. Dominguez, who walked on 4 pitches in the second inning, behind here 0-1 in the count. Swings at that one. It gets away from Jaso, and there's Wallace moving into second base. Wild pitch is the ruling.
Case of a catcher who's called the breaking ball, just trying to pick it out of the dirt rather than get in a good position and block it. And it really is on the catcher. And yet, any pitch in the dirt, you'll see the wild pitch called.
The Astros have lost 12 games in a row to Oakland. It's the third time in club history that's happened. Phillies beat them 17 straight times in their first year as the Colt 45s, 1962. And the Braves beat them 12 times in a row in 66. Up the middle, slowly hit, and Parker gloves it, tossing him out to end the fourth inning with no runs, no hits, and a man left. After 4, 2-1 Athletics.
Off the field and into the lives of the newest Houston Texans. Meet the rookies at 6, 10, and midnight, only on Sportsnet Central. Speaking of rookies, joined by the mom of a rookie, Cindy Cozart. You've watched your son Jared perform magic in Tampa Bay. Now he gets to play for his hometown team and on the mound here at Minute Maid Park. What is this like for you?
I don't know if I would call it magic in Tampa Bay. He had one of those days where he had a really lucky game, and I guess God was watching over him. And like here, it's just nice to be in front of a hometown crowd and have all our support. And it's just, I don't know what to say. I think I'm still kind of in shock a little bit.
It seems that way. It really did look amazing what he did there, just his performance and his poise. And then to carry it here, he ends up getting the start here. When you found out that he was going to be with the Astros and that he was going to make the start in Houston, what went through your mind?
I thought, well, who am I going to call? I just said, okay, who are we going to call first? And because there's so many people that texted us during Tampa, and I felt obligated to answer all of them back. So, he has so much support, so I just feel like everybody needs to be part of that who's been part of his life since he was small. So.
We know you have 62 tickets. It seems like the entire city of League Cities here and maybe the entire Clear Creek High School baseball history and his coaches and his other former teammates, decades of players. What does that support mean to you?
It means a lot. He got support from when he was at Creek, and as he's gone up, his American Legion coaches here, just family and friends. And like I said, Clear Creek baseball, past, present, and future, they're all here. We're well represented from Clear Creek League City. Yay!
And then he said this was a dream come true, especially because this is his hometown team. As a mom, when you get to hear your son have a dream and have it come true, what is that like?
It's really surreal. It's really awesome. Not that you have to be a professional ball player, but I'm hoping that he goes out and is a good role model for other kids, and that, win or lose, that you just got there, keep your composure, support your teammates, support your team, and, so that's what I'm hoping for him. I mean, I'm glad he's made it this far, don't get me wrong, but that's what I'm hoping comes out of this.
A good baseball mom, and you have two other sons. I know you want him to be a good role model, too, as well. Good baseball players as well.
Yes, they are. Both be attending Seminole State College, and in fact, Brett Oberholzer, who is in OKC and has been up for the Astros, he actually attended college there. He kind of hooked him up with Coach. I can't remember Coach's name there, but yeah, we're very blessed and can't wait to go to Florida, I guess, and watch the baseball.
Well, we appreciate the time. Thank you for bringing the crowd, Cindy Cozart, and thank you for letting us talk this evening. Absolutely. Thank you
so much.
Let's send her back upstairs.
Thanks, Layla. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Coco Crisp after the ground out by Sogard. And the pitch to Sogard was a changeup on an 0-1 count. So Cozart is throwing some different wrinkles at the Oakland Athletics as this game moves along. 1-2 on Crisp still.
Did I hear Mom say of her son that he was really lucky in the first game?
I think you did hear that.
Wow. Modesty rules in that household, huh?
That's right. Foul ball by Crisp. Well, here is one of 5 players on the Astros age 23 or younger. Jaso's on deck. 4 hits for Oakland, 3 for Houston, 1 error for Houston.
Getting to those days where the young shall lead, huh?
Yep. Liner gets through the left side. Crisp gets on for the second time tonight. 2 singles for Coco.
Yeah, there's just no explaining why a given hitter gets so hot against one team over the course of a season. And this high fastball, not an easy pitch to handle.
Well, you know the old saying, Ash, there's nothing like hot cocoa on a 95-degree day.
There you go.
John Jaso's the batter. He's walked twice. That's ball.
Pretty good pitch.
Well, Jaso knows the strike zone well. Hopper VR. There's the toss. Altuve, the middleman. 6-4-3. Double play. No runs, a hit, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-1 Oakland. You with Jack's Big Stack Burger. And by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. 2-1 ball game. The Astros come up in the home 5th inning. After a double play ball, the second of the game by Jared Cozart. Now the Astros have been held to 3 hits by Parker. Parker gave up those 3 hits to the first 3 batters in the game. He faced VR in the home first, double. Altuve single, Castro RBI single, but since then, no hits allowed by Parker. He was able to apply a tourniquet there to the Astros rally in that first inning. And it'll be Brandon Barnes leading it off in the home 5th. Backtracking, we had a shot earlier in the ballgame tonight of Jared Cozart's girlfriend. And her name is Ashton Wise, and she was sitting with her parents there. Those are her parents, not Jared's parents. So in case you know the family and you wondered what the deal was, those are Ashton's parents, the Wises. Very wise family. Brandon Barnes taps it foul, no balls, 2 strikes. But they're still invested in what's happening. That's great to have a local guy come up, and people from League City are here to see his debut, and they'll hopefully be able to see many starts by Cozart down through the years.
But the 2 families are in the same section.
Yeah, they're speaking. That's not a problem. 1-2 to Barnes. Pirates beat the Nationals 5-1. Nationals are in the doldrums, Ash. They're 48-52.
Hard to figure.
Little roller. Parker over. Parker throws high. And now Barnes is headed for second base. Sogard over to run it down. Fan interference is called. And either way, Barnes is at second base. Fans reaching over onto the field and interfering with the baseball, but he would have been at second anyway. And the high throw by Parker.
This is what that barehanded effort can on occasions lead to. The palm ball just simply gets away, a launch job down the right side. You'll watch as Parker comes over on that first base side. Really a rather routine play, but he picks it up entirely with the bare hand, and in doing so you'll get that palm ball a lot of times. Always recommended that if you can, use both hands. Just as surprising a first baseman can't get up and make that play.
Manute Bol would have had it. Barnes at second base on the 2-base error by Parker. Yeah, and it's a good point you're making. So if the pitcher in this case would allow the ball to roll into his glove, then that would allow him to control it so he could grip it with his bare hand, right?
Yeah, and you just take glove to hand, and it kind of gives you that security. You place the ball in the right spot. But you'll see a lot of good throws with that barehanded effort, but you'll occasionally see this one.
VR around to bunt. He takes ball 1. The third baseman Donaldson keeping watch on Barnes at second.
Always felt that if you have the opportunity to use the glove on that little slow ground ball, use it.
VR over the game offensively for the Astros with a double to right. Came around to score on the Castro single. In the second inning, he struck out against Parker. First baseman Moss in on the grass, as well as the third sacker Donaldson. Lowry's right behind the base runner Barnes. Now he's going back to his position. And the bunt goes Donaldson's way. Donaldson throwing, and they get the out to Sogard on the sacrifice.
Yeah, this is a perfect example as Donaldson used glove in hand and was able to make the good strong throw. But back to that throw by Jared Parker. And a nice bunt by VR, doing a lot of nice things for the club. Just reaching with the bare hand. If that glove would instead come in and push ball into the hand, and you could see the palm effort, just 5 fingers trying to throw the baseball, it doesn't work well that way.
Now the infield comes in, and it's Jose Altuve batting. He ripped a line drive off Donaldson's glove for a single in the first. He grounded to Donaldson in the third inning. Big situation here for the Astros, trailing 2-1. Castro on deck. And the throw goes to third. A little snap throw from Jared Parker. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, with that infield drawn in, they've got Donaldson acting like a first baseman holding at the bag.
They sure do. He's standing right there.
And with as many times as the Astros have gone to the safety squeeze this year, and other scouts sitting watching this, I have a feeling we might see this a little more often.
Dave Tremblay has a decoy that he uses. And it's pretty interesting to watch as he gives signs. What a cat and mouse game. In the air, and here's the tag at third by Barnes. Coco Crisp with the catch. It's an easy sacrifice fly, and the game is tied on Altuve's 31st run batted in. It's 2-2. The Astros cash in on Oakland's two-base error and the sacrifice bunt and sacrifice fly. A very sacrificial fifth inning to tie this game.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice job. And Jose Altuve, it seems that every time we've seen him lately in a run-producing situation, he will, without fail, go to the right side somewhat. Of course, a lot of the time that's what he's been doing. He just stays on the baseball well.
That's good work. Castro looks at it. It's strike one. Castro drove in run number one in the first inning with a single to right center. Then he struck out in the third. Yeah, that was a much needed run Altuve provided. Castro chasing that one, and it's 0-2 to Jason. And that Pirate 5-1 win at Washington, Garrett Cole at 5-3 with the victory. Pedro Alvarez hit his 25th home run. Cole gave up 2 hits and 1 run in 7 innings. Tyler Jordan the loser. Wilson Ramos hit his 5th homer. Rolled over to second. Sogard on to Moss. And the Astros get 1 run on no hits. 1 error. And after 5, it's 2-2. Fifth inning, and in the first inning there was a Houston error allowing an unearned run for Oakland. So even Steven in terms of errors. And now the 6th inning arrives for Jared Cozart. He's had 2 double plays behind him tonight as he makes his 2nd major league start. This is not the overwhelming result that he had in that first start, the 8 shutout innings against Tampa Bay, but he is battling. And now he's going to be tested in the 6th inning by the 3, 4, 5 hitters, Lowry, Donaldson, and Moss. Jed Lowry has a single and 2 trips. 88 pitches for Cozart. This could be his final frame. It's ball 1 to Lowry.
Sometimes it's hard to say more impressive, but equally impressive outing is when you don't have your best stuff and or command, and you find a way to keep your team in the game.
He's used his curveball a little bit more as the game has gone on. He's thrown a few changeups. Lowry takes that one. That's an off-speed pitch, and it's 2-0. The Dodgers lead 9-8 at Toronto They're in the top of the 8th inning. In that heated interleague rivalry.
That's a natural one.
Ground ball to first. Wallace down on a knee. 1 out. We have an answer to that trivia question. It's brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Who was that player who struck out against Nolan Ryan and Bob Gibson? He was number 3,000 on the list for both of those pitchers. He's Geronimo, Cesar Geronimo. In 74 against Gibson, in 80 against Ryan, he was number 3,000 both times. Boy, he could run him down in center field. Donaldson now the batter, 2 for 2. Ball 1.
Overlooked member of the Big Red Machine.
Look at that lineup. Johnny Bench in front. Then you got Pete Rose, Dave Concepcion, Joe Morgan, Tony Perez, George Foster, Cesar Geronimo, number 20, and Ken Griffey.
You know, a lot of times I don't think of Pete Rose as the third baseman.
There's a line shot into the left field corner. Donaldson heads for second. Here's the throw wide to Altuve, and he is 3 for 3 in this game. That's his 24th two-base hit. Good throw might have had him, but the throw sailed toward the outfield. First extra base hit of the night for Oakland, hit number 6.
Josh Donaldson has become the man for these A's offensively. Big leg kick, bat wrapping all over the place, but keeps the hands back. And on a breaking ball, he's right there ready to lash. This one a fastball, though.
Paul Clemens has begun to warm up for Houston. Runner at second, 1 out for Brandon Moss. Line drive, VR back to catch it on a broken bat for out number 2. And now it'll be Reddick. Yeah, you mentioned you didn't think of Pete Rose as a third baseman. Well, on opening day 1975, he wasn't. And he was a left fielder, and they just had a situation in which George Foster was on the bench, and they were playing John Vukovic at third. Vukovic was not hitting. So about the third week in May or so of that year, they were doing okay, but they weren't really on a roll. And Sparky Anderson asked Pete Rose if he could play third base. Started playing in the third from that point on. Ground ball, backhanded Wallace, and he gets it to Cozart. Outstanding play by Wallace and Cozart to end the top of the 6th inning. That's an 8-pitch inning. It's no runs a hit and a man left. Wallace with the glove work, and he spins as he gets up. It's 2-2.
Arkansas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. Viewers, listen up. Comcast Sportsnet covers the entire 5-state region, and we want your story ideas. Email us your ideas at regionalroundup@comcastsportsnet.com. And we saw the fancy play just now, Brett Wallace and Jared Cozart combining to end that inning. And two of the guys to congratulate him first in the dugout were Dallas Keuchel and Eric Bedard. And an interesting note about those two.
Carter pops it up. Moss comes over in the foul ground. 1 pitch, 1 out. What is that note?
Thanks, Brownie. Is that they were also the first two guys to see Cozart when he came into the clubhouse. The entire team was on the field for early work before the game, and Cozart walks in with a backpack on. Keuchel and Bedard are sitting at their lockers, and they had to go congratulate the guy. They said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" Joked around with him, made him sit down next to them. And Dallas told me before the game, he said, "We wanted to do that to calm his nerves." He said, we know this guy. I know him from Oklahoma City, and he's got a lot going on right now, but he needs to know that he can come in here and relax and kind of get his mind off the game a little bit. So far, it's proven to work, and they've been good teammates, as you can see.
You bet. They knew what it would take. Brett Wallace, the batter. Wallace hit a fly ball to right. He was hit by a pitch. Made that excellent play on Reddick to end the top of the inning. There's ball 1. Brett was saying he had a lot of extra swings when he was at Oklahoma City as he was working to change his hitting style a little bit. And he would take hundreds of swings to get that change locked in. And now it's more like maintenance. He has about 3 different drills he does, but he is not required to do all that extra work that it takes when you're trying to make a major change, Ash, and get it locked in.
And when he came back from this lengthy stay he had at AAA, the one thing that he said was he needed to get his rhythm back, and he found that with the higher hand position it enabled him to find that rhythm. And really, I think most hitters will honestly tell you when they're going good, it's just a nice body rhythm they feel.
Two and two.
Brett Wallace in finding that rhythm. Now you can see the X's are not what you want. Those are the strikeouts, but the little dots are picking up the hits right through the heart of the plate. You'd anticipate that's a zone where you'd like to swing it well, maybe a little toward the outside. He drives the ball to left field and to left center so well, but on the breaking balls that are in, he's able to jack them out to right field. The power game has been a big part of the turnaround.
That's out to second and caught by Sogard. Line drive out, number 2. Parker versus Cozart, and it's 2-2 with 2 outs here in the 6th inning, and J.D. Martinez batting. J.D. twice his fly to right field. Dodgers banging away at the Blue Jays 10-8 now in the top of the 8th inning at Toronto. Capuano started for Los Angeles. Redmond started for Toronto. Redmond will get a start in Toronto against the Astros over the weekend. About to third, backing up on Donaldson. Long throw is low and safe. Well, he backed up on the ball, and that really cost him as he bounced the throw Martinez was able to reach.
You know, it's usually just the speed burners that can hit that 2-hopper to the third baseman and beat it. But Donaldson has a couple of times in this series found himself kind of backing up, took one extra step, and that one extra step cost him. Yeah, that pushback move by a third baseman means it's time to get rid of the ball extremely quickly. Well, that was close.
Martinez is credited with an infield single. Hit number 4 for the Astros. First Astros hit since the first inning. Maxwell, who struck out twice, is the batter. J.D. draws the throw. This Oakland club has the best ERA in the American League, 3.56. Very powerful bullpen. Last night, Bob Melvin's club came from behind, trailing 3-0 and winning 4-3 with good bullpen work by Cook, Doolittle, and Balfour. Strike to Maxwell. So the Astros would love to get the lead here in the 6th inning, and a little different spin on that bullpen situation for Oakland. So out to talk with Parker, who has thrown 78 pitches.
That's a major league head of hair.
Jealous?
Absolutely. No, you're not, but some of us.
I am jealous. 79 pitches for Parker, 52 strikes. He's walked 1 and hit 1. And Dominguez is on deck. Reds 9, Giants 2, bottom of the 9th in San Francisco. Joey Votto hit his 16th. Devin Mesoraco, number 6. Zach Cozart, number 8. Good night for the Cozarts so far. Not related. Not spelled the same.
What was that call that EY was talking about today with catcher-pitcher combination with the same letters for the Astros today?
Same letters in their last names. Cozart and Castro. Just arranged differently. I forgot what the term was that he used for that.
I think EY must have found that somewhere on the internet. I'm calling you out, EY.
EY is frequently out there universes ahead of the rest of us in intelligence. Swing and a miss, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Those are 2 names that don't look at all the same to me, and yet he's dead on. They are the same letters.
What's he been doing? Playing Scrabble?
Yeah, that's completely out of character.
Nobody plays Scrabble anymore.
It's got to be an online version, right?
No balls, 2 strikes. What was your favorite board game growing up? Monopoly?
You know, we didn't have all the options back then. It probably was Monopoly. Oh, I know what me and my buds played all the time was Stratomatic.
Oh, yeah.
How about you? Did you get into the Stratomatic kind of game?
APBA baseball.
Yeah. That was the minor leagues.
Vastly superior to Stratomatic. The thinking man's game.
They play it now on computer.
Good. Have you attempted to join it?
No, I have not imbibed.
1 ball, 2 strikes. To Justin Maxwell. Good sized crowd here tonight. Tuesday night.
Are you going to have it in the teens, the 20s, or the 30s of thousands?
Depends on whether Gino hands me a slip of paper with rundowns on it, and I read that as the attendance, or whether we're just looking and making up a number. We don't have an official number yet. Just off the plate. Parker froze on it. Didn't get a call. It's 2-2. It appeared to be a little bit off the plate for J-Max.
I think Layla's got some info for us.
Oh, on Crouch?
No, on Scrabble.
Oh, on Scrabble.
Gentlemen, it's true. Nobody plays Scrabble anymore, but they do play Words with Friends.
Oh, Words with Friends.
Yes, I hear they play it on their telephones, their mobile telephones. I do not take part in such activities.
It sounds like something you would take part in, though.
You know, I find ways to waste time that don't involve games on my phone, actually. Instead, I just end up watching MLB TV for hours.
Yeah, and then you roam around the stands at Minute Maid Park and identify people in the crowd and things like that.
I do. I try to stalk people in the crowd. It's a thing. But I gotta say, I think I may need to look into your board games. This is one of my more favorite conversations of the season.
Oh, well, try to put a hotel on Park Place if you can. In the dirt, it kicks away from Jaso. Rolls over by Dominguez in the on-deck circle on a wild pitch by Park.
John Jaso had a tough time with this tough pitch in the dirt. When that body starts coming up, you will find catchers having a good bit of a tough time.
Don't put a hotel on Atlantic Avenue, though, Layla. It's a bad move.
You sound like you've played a lot of Monopoly in your day.
Yeah, we're still playing every day.
Don't you get property hungry, though? Like, I would always spend money on Boardwalk and then have nothing else.
Yeah, you can go property bankrupt in a hurry, absolutely.
When you pick up properties, do you want to flip them in that game?
Not really. Maxwell draws a walk. You may want to flip the board when things are not going well for you.
Okay, since Layla's been talking about it, MLB.TV celebrates 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere. It sounds like Layla needs a little more baseball.
Well, she can't get enough of it, actually.
It's sad. I have problems. Hey, did you know that there are people who watch our games from as far away as Greece and Italy?
No.
On MLB TV. I'm not even kidding.
Matt Dominguez takes strike one. Have you heard from these people?
Yeah, they follow us on Twitter.
Interesting.
See, that's what I waste my time with.
That's great.
If you know me well, that's it. MLB TV and Twitter and hanging out with you guys. That's not a time waste, though.
So Twitter does not qualify as games on your phone, huh?
I mean, it can be.
Dominguez with a soft fly ball, left field line, coming over Young. Young is there. And that's the third out here in the sixth inning with no runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. After 6, it's tied at 2.
Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience.
We have some changes in the Astros outfield now. Mark Krause has come in to play left field. Justin Maxwell has moved over to center field from right. And J.D. Martinez has gone to right field. Brandon Barnes out of the game. Let's see if we can see something that is a reason for Brandon leaving this game. He reached on an error in the 5th inning and scored a run.
Yeah. Could have tweaked an ankle, a knee, something right there. Get that foot sliding a bit on the ground, and maybe even an Achilles tendon or something could come into play.
Well, Krause goes into the number 9 spot in the lineup. He'll be leading off in the bottom of the 7th. Right now it's Jared Cozart pitching to Chris Young in the top of the 7th. And ball 1 comes in high to Young. Young is 0 for 2. Jose Cisnero is warming up in the Astros bullpen. 96 pitches so far for Jared Cozart. It appears that Bo Porter is probably going batter by batter here in the 7th inning with Cozart, but also course, he and Doug Brocail, as always, will be watching his delivery, watching to see if he's tiring. Very talented 23-year-old right arm. They will do what they can to get as much durability out of Jared Cozart's right arm. And that may mean taking him out after 100 pitches. He's at 3-0 in the count right now. A leadoff walk, if it were to happen, might be an indicator that he is tiring.
Looks like a very focused young man.
4-pitch walk to Young. Walk number 3 for Cozart tonight. Now Wallace comes over. The phone rings out in the bullpen. Doug Brocail is called out. And Cisnero has been warming up. Earlier it was Paul Clemens warming up. Maybe a little bit of a buying time tactic here to give Cisnero a few more warm-up pitches. The batter will be Seth Smith. Smith is 0 for 2.
As a pitcher, you've got to hate that moment when an infielder has been told to go out to the mound and kill some time, and you know what it's all about. There's really no conversation going on there on the hill.
Now there will be a pinch hitter. Yoenis Cespedes is batting for Seth Smith. Cespedes, the winner of the Home Run Derby at the All-Star Game festivities, hitting .225, has 15 homers, 43 runs batted in. He's been sidelined by a left hand problem, which he injured in batting practice before the game Friday night. He put on quite a show in that Home Run Derby. There's strike 1 to Cespedes.
Of course, every time a player gets hurt shortly after the All-Star Game and they've been in the Home Run Derby, it becomes such a taboo subject. The notion that you're going to have anybody from your ball club in that Home Run Derby ever again, and blame has been already cast down on the field on the Home Run Derby, and yet some people saying that's not where this injury took place.
No balls, 2 strikes. Well, in fact, earlier this year when the Astros were at Oakland, Cespedes was on the disabled list with an injury, and that left hand has bothered him before.
As great as he was in that Home Run Derby, he has kind of been the flip side a bit for these A's on a regular basis this year. He has not lived up to expectations.
No batting average .225, far from his .292 of last year when he was second in Rookie of the Year voting. Runner takes off, swinging a foul ball. That will bring Chris Young back. Young appeared to have a good jump that time.
Generally, Cozart does a nice job with a bit of a slide step toward the plate, and that's not bad. It's the curveball probably that set up the opportunity for Young.
Young is 7 for 9 in stolen bases. Oakland with 51 steals ranks 11th in the American League. Cespedes, a very important man in the scheme of things. Oakland has a great record when he's in the starting lineup. Pinch hitting now. Bouncer second. Altuve with the feed. VR the middleman. Very quick, and what a play! Brett Wallace, a diving play to corral that errant throw for a 4-6-3 double play. Tremendous job by Wallace.
We get a peek at the arm strength of VR. Plenty on that throw, but at the same time well offline. Yeah, this is a pretty routine opportunity here, and perfectly set up by Altuve is VR. And yet that throw offline, you get that runner coming in on you, and it'll create some problems. And another peek. Nice job as VR comes across the bag toward the outfield side. And that is a nice job by Brett Wallace.
He's made 2 sparkling plays in the last 2 innings. Eric Sogard's the batter. Pitch number 104 for Cozart is strike 1 to Sogard. Sogard's 0 for 2.
How about Jared Cozart getting 3 more double plays tonight?
Yes. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. He speaks well for his ability to get out of troublesome situations. up just 2 hits in his major league debut. Good movement there on the change. 1-2. He's shown some good polish tonight. Not just blowing the ball by the hitters, but finessing them at times.
I think this is a lot closer to what I would anticipate seeing normally from Jared Cozart. I thought that first outing he was so sharp you just can't duplicate it.
2-2. He was shaking off that sign from Jason Castro. Sometimes the catcher will signal to the pitcher to shake him off, just to get the hitter thinking about things.
The Astros turned 4 double plays in that first start by Cozart.
That's lined out to right center field. The pitch was up. Big turn by Sogard, and he's going. Here's Maxwell's throw, and he makes it. Good hustle by Sogard. A double with 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
You better be anticipating the possibility of extra bases. You could see that Maxwell had a long way to go because he started in left center field. At this point, it's got to be all out firing into second base. Sogard just wins the battle.
That's hit number 7, and now Doug Brocail will come out. 108 pitches for Jared Cozart, and Layla has a story for us. Layla.
I do, guys, and it's about what the Astros have been able to do with Coco Crisp recently. Before the game last night, Crisp had a .561 on-base percentage against the Astros. We knew he had done well against this team. But Dallas Keuchel had a key strikeout of Crisp last night in the 5th inning. He got Crisp swinging, and I asked Keuchel after the game because that was a pretty good strikeout for Crisp and something that Astros pitchers have not been able to do recently. And he said, we noticed that he's been struggling with some stuff inside. I got him on the slider on the back foot. And you'll see Crisp tonight ended up striking out on Cozart's 97-mile-an-hour fastball in the 1st inning. So they are making some adjustments now that they've seen this guy in particular quite a few times.
And that's the 1st inning pitch for strike 3. Since then, he has singled twice. He scored in the 3rd inning. Brocail out to talk about this situation. Cozart delivers, and it's ball 1. John Chaso's on deck. The Mets beat Atlanta 4-1 at Citi Field in New York. Torres the winner. Chris Medlin lost it. Bobby Parnell got his 19th save. Andrelton Simmons hit his 10th home run for Atlanta. It's in for a strike. That evens the count at 1-1 on Coco Crisp.
It's been good with the curveball after some early struggles tonight.
Covelli, Lois, Crisp.
The natural transition to Coco.
Strike makes it 1-2. The Cozart rooting section really liking it. They'll be revved if he can get this out and leave with a 2-2 tie.
That is one excited and supportive bunch right there.
In the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 112 pitches for Jared Cozart. He had back and shoulder problems in the minor leagues in the Phillies organization in 2009. In 2010, his season ended in June with a bad elbow. But then in 2011, he was the All-Star Futures Game winning pitcher. Had a solid year last year in the Astro system. And now his 2nd start as an Astro. His first at home. He locked up in a 2-2 game in the 7th inning.
get one of these slash-type hitters like Coco Crisp, that fastball up and away can be very dangerous because it's easily slashed toward left field.
Time called by Jason Casper. Atlanta's lost to the Mets. The Braves are 56 and 44. That NL East spot could be there for somebody else, but the Braves came in with a 7-game lead over the Phillies. So they're in good shape with some room for faltering right now.
I would say the early impression left by Jared Cozart in the major leagues is a very good one to this point.
Curveball fouled. And he stayed with the club in St. Petersburg after his start, right, Ash? After the All-Star break, so he was able to hang around a little bit, even though he knew he was going back to AAA opening.
He pitched the first of 3 in Tampa Bay, and I don't recall that he was around the next couple of days.
Okay.
What you say may be true.
Okay. But after this start, when he's really here to stay, he should get a feeling of being more a part of this club than he did when he knew going into that last start it was going to be this one game and then you're going back down until after the break.
It was really a spot start scenario, but he made the most of it and done the same tonight. Just a different style.
115th pitch coming. And it's strike 3. What a night for Jared Cozart, and they are loving it. It's a 2-2 game in the 7th.
Come to the plate. Inside the Lines is brought to you by Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. Jared Cozart has been showing a lot of folks what he can do. Bends that curveball in for the final pitch likely on his night as he gets the strikeout of Coco Crisp. Yeah, he's got to be very pleased. The family certainly is.
Outstanding game for Cozart. He really battled tonight. 7 innings of work. He's given up 7 hits so far. 2 runs, 1 earned, walking 3, fanning 415 pitches. A full night's work. Brandon Barnes left the game with a left calf strain. The paid attendance tonight, 32,249. We've had some excellent crowds on this homestand. 38,338 on Sunday with Seattle.
Have to wonder how much of this very nice crowd has been brought in by Jared Cozart in his start, and VR for that matter.
Good point. Mark Krause is up for the first time, taking strike one.
Yeah, the kids can bring so much excitement to the club, and fans follow, and they know that you've got this list of names they are anxious to see.
Krause has had 36 at-bats with 6 hits. Fly ball goes to right, and pretty deep in right. Reddick on the warning track. One out for Parker. Parker's only thrown 86 pitches. 88 pitches now. So he's conserved things to the point that he's worked 6 1/3 now in this 2-2 game and has 5 outs on the ground, 10 in the air, and 4 strikeouts. Just 2 walks and 1 hit batter. Parker. Jonathan VR has a double, a strikeout, and a sac bunt. Sean Doolittle, the lefty, warming up for Oakland. Bouncer up the middle. That will make it into center field. Jonathan VR has a 2-hit game. Feeling a little frisky around first.
And why not? That's a nice turn to take and put the pressure on. Say, treat your employees, host clients, or bring out your church or youth sports team. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today. We need to go hit one of those suites and see what kind of goodies they've got going on.
They've got tremendous food. Now we get an injury visit, apparently, as Bob Melvin, the athletic skipper, is accompanied by an athletic trainer here with Parker on the mound after allowing that single by VR. Something with the left rib cage, maybe. Might be a bit of a cramp. He acts as if he's going to be fine to continue. Stretching out a little bit there.
Look at what speed can do. Jonathan VR in the minor leagues has been a guy who loves to run. Saw the 31 stolen bases this year in 38 attempts, and you can go all the way back to 2008. 27 bags in 35 tries. He's been good in terms of percentage all the way through. And after showing that running ability last night, you figure he's not going to change things now as he comes to the big leagues.
He's aboard with 1 out. Altuve, the batter. Altuve ripped a single off Donaldson's glove in the first inning, hit a sacrifice fly in the 5th. And now one big objective is to get Jonathan VR to third base. Jason Castro on deck. Throw goes over on VR. VR got his first major league stolen base last night. That one crowds Altuve, drives him off the plate, and it's ball 1. Cubs and Diamondbacks underway. No score, bottom of the first inning. It'll be interesting to watch that Diamondback club and see if any deals are made. Tight race in the NL West. Arizona has now slipped a half game behind the Dodgers. Rumors that the D-backs could be looking for a pitcher. And that could really heat up here in the next week as we get closer to the end of the month trading deadline.
2 months ago, I doubt that anybody would have suggested the Dodgers would be in first place at this point.
You're right. They have been on fire. Altuve taps at the shortstop. Lowry with the shovel. And Sogard wisely did not make a relay. after the 6-4 force on VR. 2 outs.
The Astros picked up a run in the 5th inning. They got it started as Brandon Barnes reached on this little dribbler. The throwing error by Parker, a 2-base job, and it was a pretty thorough error as he launched it down the right field side. Barnes moves into second. The bunt sacrificed by Jonathan VR as he shows lots of things he can do, and then it's Jose Altuve with the sac fly scoring the run. That's how the Astros got back even at 2 in this game.
Jason Castro plated the first run with a single to right center. He's 1 for 3. Travis Woods pitching for the Cubs in Arizona against Patrick Corbin tonight. VR takes off, or Altuve rather early, and he's going to make it easily. Altuve had a huge jump on his way to steal number 23.
Yeah, I don't think even in the game a lot of people realize what a good little base thief this guy is right now. He's doing a fine job in that regard. I think everybody has the anticipation VR is going to run. Well, what about Jose Altuve? And he makes it easily.
2 steals in 2 games for Jose. And now Kurt Young, the pitching coach, has something to say. The earlier visit was because of a possible injury, so that did not count as a technical visit to the mound.
This visit, I would imagine, is about how to deal with Jason Castro before Chris Carter may find his way to the plate. Do you simply pitch around Castro? Are you willing to walk him intentionally? How do you want to go about it? It's been a good base path series for the Astros. And the A's with Malone on the hill last night didn't look like a team you would run on. He had been very good in shutting down running games. But Jose Altuve, Jonathan VR, 2 guys that I guess we would anticipate we'll see at the top of this order now for time to come. Both run well and can steal the bags.
Castro hits a liner to right into Reddick's glove. No runs a hit and a man left. We move to the 8th. It's tied at 2.
August 5th through the 7th, the Astros take on Big Papi, David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, and the Boston Red Sox in their only trip to Minute Maid Park this season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets now. And how about the reports of Dustin Pedroia's possible contract extension, you guys? 7 years, $100 million. What kind of properties on Monopoly could we buy with that?
Well, you could put several hotels on Boardwalk.
You think so?
Yeah. What do you think, Ash? Is it too late to be giving him that lengthy a deal, $100 million deal? He is the heart and soul of that ball club.
He really is. Actually, the little guy and Big Papi are the 2 guys that lead the Red Sox club. When you get a chance to watch Dustin Pedroia play a number of games over the course of the year, initial reaction might be, oh, there's no way this little guy can be that good. And then you watch him for a while and you'll realize this guy is unbelievable. Terrific hitter, plays the defensive side. He's just dirty and nasty and heck of a player when it's all said and done.
Jose Cisneros in the game with a 2-1 record. His ERA is 3.00. He's allowed 39 hits in 39 innings, walking 17, fanning 40. It's a 2-2 game, and John Jaso leads it off in the 8th. That's ball 1. Jaso has walked twice and bounced into a double play. Jared Cozart in 115 innings, 115 pitches, had 73 strikes tonight. Cozart, I'll give you the numbers in a moment. Cozart in 7 innings, allowed 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, walking 3, fanning 4. And his first 2 major league starts have been terrific.
Relatively fast game for 115 innings.
Yeah, 115 innings that'd be a big time night's work, wouldn't it? 2 balls and a strike for Cisneros. Astros relievers with 9 wins, 22 losses, a 4.99 ERA. Had a rough night last night and lost the game 4-3. Oakland getting 1 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th. And Jaso looks at ball 3. The Astros bullpen surrendering 2 home runs last night, and that's 59 home runs allowed for the season for the Astros bullpen.
By the way, if you like to keep track of such things, Jared Cozart now 15 innings in 2 starts in the big leagues, ERA at 0.64.
That's a leadoff walk to Jaso.
April 16th. Josh Donaldson, part of a big victory. Boy, they were doing everything right. He just looped one down the right field side. May 24th. It was Young driving one out. What else is new in this ballpark for Chris Young? And then last night, big home run. Josh Reddick was the man as he drove it out to right field against Wesley Wright. Lefty v lefty, and it worked out in the A's favor.
And now with this game tied 2-2, it's Lowry. Lowry's 1 for 3. He singled and scored in the first inning. Bunts this time, and he didn't get it down. Strike 1 on Lowry.
Well, how do the A's play it now after a leadoff walk? Don't have a guy that runs exceptionally well at first base, but a guy who, when he played with the Tampa Bay Rays under Joe Madden, did a little bit of running.
Lowry hits a roller. Altuve to VR at second, and he zips the throw to Wallace. Double play. That's the 4th double play for the Astros tonight. Lowry couldn't get the bunt down and then rolled into the twin killing.
Jonathan VR doing what a shortstop does on this play. But you also get to see that strong arm again in play. And he can bring it. Not a sharply hit ball, and that left some question as to whether they could turn the double play. Strength on that throwing arm can certainly help.
Now in this 2-2 game, it's the cleanup man, Donaldson. He's 3 for 3. Donaldson looks at ball 1. Brandon Moss is on deck.
What do you think of VR at this point?
Pretty good, doesn't it?
Seems to me that the only thing you can think is, wow, is he good?
He's showing off his skills. Strong arm, good footwork, speed. Typically, some young players rush things when they come to the big leagues. It does not appear that he has been in too big a rush to get his job done.
Kind of a ho-hum look out there.
Yeah.
I've done this before.
Well, apparently that's the type of attitude that is pervasive with him.
I always want to make sure with the guys that are super talented that they don't let that focus get away, and maybe that routine play doesn't get made.
Hit him in the rib cage. Donaldson hit by the pitch.
After having a 3-hit night and having the kind of season that Donaldson has had to this point, got to be some tendency to wonder where that fastball came from. Oh my, that hurt before it hurt.
Yeah, that stings. First hit batsman for Cisnero this season with the Astros. Brandon Moss is 0 for 3. Reached on an error his first time up. That's strike one to Moss, with Altuve playing out in shallow right field. He's about 2 steps behind the dirt portion of the infield.
Of course, you keep in mind that Brett Wallace has been drilled tonight, and was there any intention here? 2 outs, bases empty in the 8th inning in a tie ball game. Tough spot to do it.
Yeah, really tough. No balls, 2 strikes. Bud Norris goes tomorrow against A.J. Griffin in a 1-10 start. And then it's bye-bye time for the Astros heading to Toronto, and the Athletics going back home. That one's upstairs, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, you've got some studio duties coming up next week, huh?
Back to see what's going on downtown. It's been a while. And Blummer's had a nice break. Wonder if he's packing his hockey sweater for the trip to Toronto.
I wonder if he even knows of such travel arrangements.
He may not have gotten the word that this is a hockey-themed trip.
Furthermore, on that note, I'm not sure our coats required at any point on the trip.
There's a pretty strong rumor that you might be sporting an Arrows jersey on this trip.
Yeah, that rumor seems to be headed toward true.
Would that be the first time you have worn a hockey sweater?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. And they are called sweaters?
Yeah, they're called technically sweaters.
Not jerseys.
They are jerseys, but they're called sweaters.
Mr. Rogers would be pleased.
They're not the button-up variety that you used to favor when you were growing up. 2 balls. You ever had the alpaca sweater?
No, I wasn't going that good as a kid. Were you one of those kinds of kids?
Yeah, I had to have a yellow alpaca sweater.
How was the patent leather on your shoes?
It wasn't in such good shape. High drive to right field, and this one is headed for the seats. Another late inning home run by the Oakland Athletics. A 2-run shot by Brandon Moss gives them a 4-2 lead, his 17th of the year, giving him 47 runs batted in.
Well, like I say, 8th inning in a tie ball game, you wouldn't think that's a spot to hit a guy intentionally, and I don't. But boy, just extending the inning for one more man to swing the bat really hurts here.
Yes, it does.
Groundhog Day, huh?
And that's the 16th long ball for Oakland against Houston pitching in the 11th game. A strike one to Reddick. Now a 2-run lead, and the Oakland bullpen has a chance to protect that lead should Parker be coming out. Big swing by Moss. This fly ball is in the air to left center field. Krause backing. And in the 8th inning, it's 2 runs on 1 hit and a 4-2 Oakland lead.
Baseball games, and it's like I said, strikeouts are a part of the game, but there are critical strikeouts that are more vital when you are in position to put the ball in play and score a run. And from a situational standpoint, we did not get it done.
That's our Geico quote of the game. It's Bo Porter talking about hitting with runners in scoring position. That was on Saturday night after the team's loss to the Mariners. Astros had a situation like that again in the 8th inning last night, but they also have had good situations since then. In fact, 3rd inning last night, you saw Chris Carter with that nice hit that helped score Jonathan VR. So that's one of those positive situations when they've hit with runners in scoring position. Contrast that last night, Brownie and Ash, to what happened in the 8th inning when there were 2 strikeouts and Jose Altuve ends up caught stealing, and that proved to be the difference in a 1-run game, potentially.
Yes, it did. 4-2 ball game right now, and lefty Sean Doolittle comes in. And in 43 innings, he's allowed 33 hits. He's 3-3 with a 3.35 ERA. Facing Chris Carter.
And I have a little reaction to what Layla's talking about in Bo Porter's comments last night. When you have a ball club that strikes out a load, as the Astros have done this year, you can't really expect in big situations to get rid of that strikeout. It's a part of who they are right now.
1-1. Carter's 0 for 3. The A's bullpen has not allowed a run over the last 5 games, covering 13 2/3 innings. It's 1-2, and the shift is on with Sogard playing up the middle now on Carter. First baseman Moss a long way from the bag. For the season, Oakland relievers are 16-10 with a 3.05 ERA. Carter's down on strikes, 1 out. Jared Parker at 7 innings, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, walking 2, fanning 4, and he's in line for win number 7. Brett Wallace is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch in the 4th inning. Yankees lead the Rangers 5-4 in the top of the 9th at Texas. That's ball 1. Josh Fields is warming up for Houston. So if the A's are doing some scoreboard watching, they have a chance to improve their lead to 4 games over Texas. It's 2-0. A little bit early for scoreboard watching, but most players take a peek every now and then. Well, this could be a furious race, though, between Oakland and Texas when all is said and done. It's in for a strike to Wallace, making it 2-1. J.D. Martinez on deck. Doolittle, the 8th inning setup man, and he's not a situational guy. He'll stay in against right-handers as well as lefties. As you notice by his first assignment of the inning, Carter.
And there certainly are times where you might find a left-hander that is not only equally as difficult against the righties as against the lefties, they may be better in that direction.
Wallace puts it in the air out to left center field. Crisp going over to his right, peeling off. Young is there. 2 outs. Let's see what the numbers say on Doolittle. Left-handed hitters are hitting .217 against him. Right-handed hitters .208. Very effective against both. Martinez is 1 for 3. He reached on an infield hit to third in the 6th inning. Mitch Moreland hit his 14th home run tonight for Texas. Padres lead the Brewers 6-2 at the end of 8. Strike to Martinez. Nick Hundley hit his 7th home run for the Pods. Will Venable number 12. Milwaukee going in without Ryan Braun for the rest of this year now. That fly ball heads for Coco Crisp territory in right center. It's a 1-2-3-8 for Doolittle and a 4-2 lead for Oakland through 8. Afternoon. Astros pregame live kicks things off at 12:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Now let's take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchup, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. A.J. Griffin goes to the hill for these Oakland A's. Right-hander 8-7 on the year, 3.82 is the ERA, and the opposition hitting just 2.36. While for the Astros, Bud Norris tries to go back out and get things straightened out now. 6-9 for Bud, 3.91 the ERA. That has risen of late. 2.82 is that batting average against. This could be a nice matchup for the getaway day.
Josh Fields comes in for the 9th inning. He's 0-1. His ERA 7.04. He last pitched in the Seattle series and gave up 3 runs in 1 inning. And he now comes in to try to keep it close with the bottom of the order coming up. Fields was on the mound in the Friday night game with Seattle coming back after the break and beating Houston 10-7. Gave up one of those home runs to Miller, the leadoff man for Seattle. There is ball one. Young is 0 for 2 with a walk. Tigers 6, White Sox 2. They're in the bottom of the ninth at U.S. Cellular. Good start for Rick Porcello. 7 shutout innings tonight. It's 1-1. Or make it 2-0 rather. Hector Santiago started for the White Sox. Johnny Peralta hit his 9th home run for Detroit. Tigers are 2.5 in front of Cleveland coming into play tonight. That's foul. 2-1 now. 4-8-1 for Oakland, 2-5-1 for Houston. 5 men stranded for the Athletics, 7 left for the Astros. The Astros in the bottom of the ninth will have Maxwell, Dominguez, and Krause due to bat. Cardinals are leading the Phillies 4-1. They're in the bottom of the 8th in St. Louis. Curveball's in for a strike on Young. That makes it 2-2. Grant Balfour warming up for Oakland. Balfour has saved the 4-3 win last night, and he continues to be perfect in saves. 26 for 26. Shelby Miller won his 10th for the Cardinals. 4-1 over the Phillies. In the dirt, and it's ball 3. 3-2. Quite a year for Shelby Miller. He got a save from Edward Mujica, number 29 for Mujica. Miller's ERA 2.77 with that 10-6 record.
Those Cardinals just get it done.
And the Phillies suffer the 4-1 loss. Swing there and a strikeout by Fields. 1 out.
Cardinals not really one of the older, more veteran-like teams overall. The 3rd youngest in baseball.
They've been able to keep that youth infusion growing, haven't they? They'll sprinkle in a few youngsters here and there. They've had mostly a veteran content to their club the last several years, but that doesn't mean they don't have young players playing. Yoenis Cespedes pinch hit for Seth Smith in the 7th inning and grounded into a double play. That's ball 1 to the Cuban-born outfielder. Quite a sensation last year. Oakland scouting him extensively in international play and then beating other teams to the signing of Cespedes to a 4-year, $36 million deal. They had the best offer. That's unusual for Oakland on a highly sought after player. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cespedes responded with 23 homers, 82 runs batted in his rookie season. He did not have any more than 2 consecutive hitless games in a row last year. Piled terrific numbers. Shoots this one high to right center field. It'll hang up for Maxwell, and there's a collision with Martinez falling and Maxwell getting up. Martinez is down and now seems to be hurting. He's going to stay down for a while as Rex Jones heads in that direction. Seemed to be Maxwell's ball, but Martinez kept going for it, and he got a glove on it, and then they collided, and it's ruled a double for Cespedes.
All you can do is wonder what the communication was like between the two. Was there any sound being made? Both guys have their eyes on the ball, so it's hard to even anticipate. You can see Maxwell realized that there was a train wreck coming, and he tried to back off a bit, but looked for a moment like Maxwell might take the brunt of the knee of JD Martinez.
Yeah. He could have been kneed in the head, and that could have been, he's already had 1 concussion this year.
Yeah, that's a great point. Looks like he came out of that relatively unscathed. That could have been dangerous.
Had all the makings of one of those very dangerous plays. The Astros have shifted their outfielders around with the injury to Brandon Barnes, who left the game with a left calf strain. Maxwell started the game in right, moved to center. Martinez started the game in left and moved to right. And he's walking around as they determine whether to keep him in the game or not. If they had to, they could bring Jake Elmore in to play the outfield, but obviously they would prefer to keep these outfielders in the game. But now Martinez is going to try to run a little bit to see if he can stay in the game.
Something's not feeling good.
Well, JD has played mostly left field this year, but he's been in right some. It's a big area in this ballpark in right center field.
JD had a chance to make that catch and then go into the tumbling act, but it's tough when the two outfielders start coming together when they're both looking at the baseball like that.
Well, they're taking JD out, and Jake Elmore is running out to play left field, so Mark Krause will shift over to play right. And it's a difficult night physically for Astros outfielders, two of them leaving with injuries. Earlier Barnes with the left calf strain, and now Martinez.
I would say in watching JD walk off the field, it doesn't look like it's what you'd call a major injury. But the question now is, how long might he be down, and what might that lead to with the Astros maybe being forced to make some sort of move?
Krause over to right field. So you've got a lot in the mix for tomorrow. You've got Barnes, you've got JD Martinez, who can play. It's a 1-10 game. Not a lot of time to recover from injuries tonight. Meanwhile, Elmore goes in to play left field.
Are we hearing left hip?
Didn't hear anything yet. There's Brandon Barnes, but that's the way it looked, the left hip. Eric Sogard is the batter after the double with one out by Cespedes. He butts, and it's foul. Layla?
Guys, just an update from what I saw here in the dugout. It looked like JD Martinez was favoring that left hip, and we overheard the training staff say he hit the ground hard. So it looked like it may have been a hip issue. Of course, there's no way to know for sure just yet. And he was holding his left hip as he was walking through the dugout.
There's another look at it. Yeah. Lands very hard. It's 1-1. Well, if you're thinking ahead and wondering who might be the candidates if the Astros need to promote an outfielder from Oklahoma City, Jimmy Paredes, of course, has been here before. He would be one. Robbie Grossman has been here earlier this year. He would be another. You're going to ask about George Springer, right?
And now that you bring him up.
Popped up. Altuve underneath. 2 outs.
This moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. July 23rd of 1967, Jimmy Wynn hits 2 dingers in an 8-5 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates. At this point in '67, Wynn leads the National League in home runs with 25 and RBI 75, while Rusty Staub leads in batting at 358. That's not a bad combination.
Oh, terrific players. And that was back in the old configuration of the Astrodome when it was 390 feet to the power alleys and the wall was about 12 feet high.
Most guys were fortunate to have 25 batting practice dingers at that stage of the season.
Yeah. Intentional walk here to Crisp. Grant Balfour is warming up along with Dan Otero for Oakland. And this was set it up with runners at first and second. And Jaso Well, Norris is in the game. Derek Norris, so this will be a righty on righty confrontation. Norris had come in to catch last inning, so that's the reason for this move. Yeah, usually if there's an injury in a night game in the major leagues and that major league club has a day game the next day, it's very difficult to get a player from AAA to the ballpark in time if needed. Let's see where Oklahoma City is playing. Well, they played Omaha last night. They are at Omaha. And they're playing a doubleheader tonight.
Yeah, it's one thing if you have one outfielder that comes up with a perceived minor injury that you might go with your 24 guys the next day and hope that in a day or two you're back to full strength. But when two guys go down on a given night, don't know if the Astros are capable of making that happen.
Well, and what's different about the roster makeup right now is there are 3 extra men on the bench, so kind of a shorthanded club with extra pitcher to make up the difference instead of the 4 bench players. So, you know, if you have 2 outfielders down, that really puts you at about DEFCON 7 for tomorrow's game.
Well said. Bud Norris was making that very same comment.
Now another Norris, Derek, up for the first time. Derek was the starting catcher in last night's game. He had a hit and a walk. That's strike 1. Fields trying to get Norris and send the Astros up in the bottom of the 9th inning, trailing by 2. Jed Lowry's on deck. Off the plate for a ball. That makes it 1-1 for Josh Fields. In his rookie season, a Rule 5 draft choice. Josh will be 28 in August. Native of Hull, Georgia. He was the closer at the University of Georgia. Last year he pitched in the Boston system at AA Portland, where he had 8 saves, and AAA Pawtucket. 2 balls, 1 strike. Josh has spent a couple of months on the disabled list this year. He was out with a right forearm strain, and he missed 51 Astros games with that injury. Good fastball there, makes it 2-2.
These Oakland A's don't seem to be fearful late in the ball game of removing one of their 2 catchers for the other guy.
True. They use them both. They will pinch hit with one for the other sometimes. In this case, Norris coming in defensively for J-So.
Earlier in the season, the Astros had a couple of occasions where it was a huge pinch running scenario, and they chose not to do that because of the 2 catcher limitation.
Marlins lead at Colorado 4-2. They're in the bottom of the 8th. They called a couple players from AA today. Swing and a miss by Norris. Fields gets a strikeout. It's no runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. Bottom of the 9th coming, 4-2 Oakland. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. Now it's the bottom of the ninth inning, and Grant Balfour has come out of the Oakland bullpen. He is perfect this season in saves, 26 for 26. He's in with a 2-run lead, 4-2 Athletics. Sean Doolittle in 1 inning. Allowed no hits, no runs. He had a strikeout. Balfour there with 39 2/3 innings of work. Has allowed only 27 hits on his way to an 0-1 record and a 1.59 ERA.
It's really turned into something, and that opposition batting average against really tells the story. Even left-hand hitters against this righty just not having a chance at 176. He has figured something out along the way.
He's been very efficient in doing so, and again last night displayed that with a quick 1-2-3 ninth with a couple of punch outs. And that's part of the task of a closer, trying to be efficient and stay available for the next game. Stay in play for his manager. Last night he threw 13 pitches. So he did exactly that.
Stay tuned for Postgame Live presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history.
It's been quite a run for Balfour with the 26 for 26 in saves. The only major league closer without a blown save this year. And that streak to start the season is the second longest in Oakland history. Dennis Eckersley reeled off 36 consecutive saves to open the '92 season. And going back to last year now, he's converted 44 in a row. That is a club record for Oakland. And it's the 6th longest streak in Major League history. He has not blown a save since April 29th, 2012 at Baltimore. 35-year-old Australian Grant Balfour versus Justin Maxwell. Justin 0 for 2 with a walk.
Balfour appeared to be angry at somebody we're not capable of seeing.
Well, they call him the Mad Aussie. He's very intense.
He's a pacer as well.
Brings that demeanor to the mound. Maxwell to be followed by Dominguez, and then Mark Krause is due up third. That's a foul ball for strike one. Astros scored a first inning run. They picked up an unearned run in the 5th. They've been held to 5 hits in this game. 2 of those 4 singles are infield hits. And the only extra base hit was by the first man to bat for the Astros tonight, Jonathan Villar, who doubled to right field. Overall, another fine night for Oakland pitching with the best ERA in the American League. Maxwell looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Very good crowd of 32,249. Hoping the Astros can get something working here in the 9th inning. Oakland trying to make it an 11-0 record against Houston this year.
I think you really have to look at tonight's crowd and say how much of that is due to the youngsters on the scene now, Jonathan Villar and Jared Cozart.
League said he'll probably take the day off tomorrow.
He may be totally worn out.
In the air, foul, and into the seats. Still 1-2.
Can a city take the day off?
Yep.
Yep.
Shut it down. It's not a bad thought every now and then, actually.
I think they're deserving. And the way Jared Cozart has come on the scene, I don't sense that he's going to take any days off.
He's an exciting young performer. And his first 2 major league starts have been terrific. Maxwell lays off. The appeal went down to first. There's a sign by Jordan Baker. He did not swing. It's 2-2. Twins lead the Angels 1-0 there in the middle of the third inning in Anaheim. Dodgers 10, Blue Jays 9. That's a final from Toronto. Bouncer off the glove of Balfour. He throws off balance, throws it wildly. Maxwell does not pick up on the ball. Now he does. Dave Clark yelling at him to get to second base, and he does. Well, Balfour tried to make a great play, threw it away, and Maxwell's at second with nobody out.
Yeah, the easy play on the one hopper back to the mound as it got away. He went into that slide on the knees and bare hand effort, and I don't know if he came up with a palm ball as we saw earlier in the ball game, but just not a good throw. And it's always a possibility on that barehanded pickup.
Maxwell seemed to be looking right at it, and then he took off.
Yeah, that looked like am I allowed to go with that kind of a throw?
Yeah, there was a moment of hesitation. Dave Clark very forcefully recommended that he move to second base, which he did. It's ruled a hit and an error. And Matt Dominguez, with the ability to tie this game with one swing, comes up. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. Mark Krause is on deck. Hit number 6 for the Astros by Maxwell. There's strike one, and gives J Max a 5-game hitting streak, and he's hoping now that Dominguez can come up with something big. Well, that's a start, especially getting Maxwell to second base. So the double play is not in order. This one gets away from Norris, but not far enough to allow Maxwell to get to third. It's 0-2. Balfour has 5 saves against the Astros. He was named to his first American League All-Star team this year. The Astros started the game with 3 consecutive hits. They were 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position in the first inning. And since then, they're 0 for 7. One and 2 to Matt Dominguez. Jose Veras is warming up for Houston. 1:10 start tomorrow for Bud Norris and A.J. Griffin. Dominguez watches ball 2. Balfour had arthroscopic right knee surgery in spring training. He's come out of that very well. A Dodger 10-9 win at Toronto tonight. Brandon Lee got the victory, beating Darren Oliver. Kenley Jansen picked up save number 12. Alex Gonzalez hit his 15th homer, among others. Joey Bautista hit number 23. Dodgers now 52 and 47. They're 21 and 5 in the last 26. Fouled away.
They would figure that Balfour would try to stay away on Dominguez, stay away from any cheap power to the Crawford boxes in left field.
Kansas City dropped Baltimore tonight 3-2. Here's Chen, the winner, and Jason Hamill. Greg Holland getting save number 25. Now it's 3-2 after Dominguez fell behind 0-2. Bob Melvin's club playing consistently well. Good stretch of games coming into this series. They've won 6 of their last 7 series. 10-6 in the month of July. They're 38-19 since May 17th. Four Quarters Club wanting to spoil the evening and end a 6-game Houston losing streak, tying its longest of the year. Dominguez fouled it.
June 25th, the date of the last home run hit by Matt Dominguez. It's been a bit of a dry spell.
He'll be seeing his 8th pitch in this at bat.
Matt had 8 home runs in the month of May. Had dropped off to 3 in June. Yet to hit that big fly here in the month of July.
This would be a good time.
The Astros could certainly use some kind of turnaround in these games that are starting to slip away late.
Oakland got runs in the 6th, 7th, and 2 in the 8th last night to win 4-3. Fly ball out to center field. Long run. Coco Crisp all the way back. Oh! Oh! Matt Dominguez has tied this game. 4-4 in the bottom of the 9th inning. What a bolt from Matt Dominguez.
Well, he picked out a big part of the ballpark and still got it out of here. Well, that's all you have to do is talk. Long ball for Matt Dominguez.
Amazing. That's home run number 12. And that breaks the string for Grant Balfour.
I wasn't convinced when he hit this that he'd gotten enough. It looked like he had a pretty good idea.
Justin Maxwell scoring ahead of Dominguez. 50 runs batted in now. Dominguez takes over the club lead, and there's ball one to Mark Krause. That was a blast. 12th home run of the year for Domingo. And now it's a brand new ball game with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th. There's a 5th home run allowed by Balfour. He's in his 40th inning.
And he now possesses a blown save.
26 for 26 coming into this game. And here's what ended that string.
Well, the pitch was up in the strike zone. Matt Dominguez, you wonder, did he have home run on his mind at all? Tale of two cities, huh? We will not be talking at home this evening.
What a time for that one. 1-0 to Krause. Inside to him. Now 2 balls, no strikes. First blown save since April 29, 2012 for Grant Balfour. He was the last closer without a blown save until a few minutes ago. That's a fly ball up the right field line, headed for the corner, and on the run, Reddick with a catch. 1 out. This crowd really energized now. And Jonathan Villar will bat.
Looked like this one might have just gotten in on the hands just a bit on Krause. Yeah. Can't say that Astros players or the fans here don't want it badly.
Balfour looks over at his first baseman Moss, who moves in tight with the bunt threat of Jonathan Villar. Villar is 2 for 3 with a sac bunt. Showing bunt. He looks at strike one. Altuve on deck.
Third baseman may be taking any thoughts of a bunt away from VR.
1 ball, 1 strike to the rookie. Another Houston-Oakland pairing.
Good to see folks are working out their differences.
The Astros have 6 wins in their final at-bat. Ball makes it 1-2 to VR. And 1 walk-off homer this year.
I like that attitude. That's all we had to do was mention the long ball for Matt Dominguez. Who knows about Jonathan Villar?
Well, he has more power, we're told, as a right-handed batter. Close pitch. 2-2.
Don't get accustomed to taking that with 2 strikes.
One bench player left for Bo Porter, Carlos Corporán. Line shot, left field corner, looks like a double. Here's Young playing it deep in the corner. It is a double for Jonathan Villar, his 3rd hit of the night.
Great stuff. And that ball was slashed the other way. And now you have to wonder about Villar and the possible chance of him taking off for 3rd. Boy, what a opening couple of games for Jonathan Villar. He has stung a double down the right field side and now slashes to left field. Scoring runs with fine base running. Yeah, that's the way it went on this swing. It's really putting the barrel to it.
Hit number 8 for the Astros. 3 by Villar. Jose Altuve ripped the line drive to 3rd, and Donaldson found that one too hot to handle for a single in the 1st inning. He had a sac fly in the 5th. 1 out, runner at 2nd. Sogard comes in to talk with Balfour.
Imagine Sogard was saying, hey, don't forget about this guy back here, and I'll go ahead and get near the bag so you got a chance to keep him from taking off.
A lot of fans down the right field line are standing. That's strike 1 to Altuve.
On that particular pitch, it didn't look like VR was thinking at all about trying to steal, but some of the really good base runners will set you up like that.
In the dirt, and the block by Norris. 1-1, keeping VR at 2nd base. This will be the 25th pitch coming up for Balfour. So that may render him questionable for tomorrow's 110 game. Ryan Cook is warming up. Jason Castro on deck. Altuve watches ball 2.
A long game like this can cut into some of our packing plans.
Ooh. You might have to wear that hockey sweater every night on the road.
Since I actually can't find out what the rest of the travel attire looks like for the trip, I might go that direction.
You're going to take a home and road hockey sweater?
Do they wear gray on the road?
Mix it up a little bit. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. Blackhawks have a nice red jersey you could get.
Yeah, now I know that one quite well. Little base hit and watch VR run time.
And then Barnes had that game-winning double here against Colorado in late May. 3 balls and a strike. Carlos Pena had a 3-run homer in the 10th against Milwaukee, June 20th. Is there going to be another walk-off hit?
I don't know that Balfour gives in at all to Jose Altuve right here. He's gone with the breaking ball. He's been throwing it in the dirt. A lot of times you're just as willing to walk this guy and move on, even though waiting on deck is Jason Castro, but then the A's have the double play possibility.
That is ball 4. And now Castro. Third walk of the game for Oakland pitching tonight. Altuve suddenly walking a lot now. Had a couple of walks last night. Now Castro, who drove in a run with a single in the first inning, is 1 for 4. Bob Melvin's coming out. His closer's thrown 27 pitches.
Intriguing how a lot of times the closer won't even look at the skip or the pitching coach. Conversation maybe funneling through Norris, the catcher. And sometimes superstition doesn't allow that pitcher to take a look at the manager.
Now the base runners are set. The A's have turned fewest double plays in the majors, 71. VR at second, Altuve at first, Castro the batter. Castro has grounded into only 3 double plays. Castro 0 for 1 with a walk against Balfour. Chris Carter's on deck. That's ball 1 up. The Astros have 15 homers from their catchers combined. That's tied for second in the American League with Cleveland. Toronto's first was 17. And 15 homers, the most by Astros catchers since they had 15 in 1989. Club record is 22 in 2000 by all Houston catchers. This one gets away, not far. Whoa! Altuve could be caught. Here's the throw behind. Oh, the throw gets away from us. Here's VR. Here's VR coming home. And the throw is not in time, and the Astros win it in the bottom of the 9th inning. What an amazing finish. Jose Altuve was hung out to dry, trying to get back to first. And Oakland did not execute, and then VR made the mad dash home to win it. What a thrilling 9th inning as the Astros take it 5-4. This time it's a walk-off error.
The one mistake you can't make is have the backside runner, who doesn't mean anything in this game, get possibly picked off and then have it turn out this way is that's an amazing way for the Astros finally to snap what the A's have done to them this year.
On the legs of Jonathan Villar. Carry run number 5 home to win this one in the bottom of the 9th. Here's another look.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, oh no, what else could go wrong? Well, what goes wrong is all in the A's corner here. And speed will pick up some wins. Oh, that's a great reaction, by the way, by Villar. But not so much for Jose Altuve. Very fortunate to pick up a W.
And he knew it as he was laughing with Villar after that winning run scored. Oakland making 2 errors in this 9th inning and 3 for the night. Oakland made 3 errors last night and got away with it, winning 4-3. This time it's a crippling loss for the Athletics, as Balfour, the closer, gave up a 2-run homer to tie it. And then that one in the dirt. Norris throwing to try to get Altuve, throwing it by Moss. Moss unable to come off the bag and stop it. And Villar coming home with a game winner.
May I say, Villar coming around third base made a heck of a turn. And that was obviously crucial. Look at the way he comes around that bag, anticipating going all the way. That's what you love to see. Great stuff from the youngster.
What a way to snap a 6-game losing streak. 5-4 Astros with 3 in the 9th.